10 minutes or so of that Wexford Tip match, you could hear the buzz beginning to grow here at Croke Park as the supporters of Armagh and Tyrone were beginning to anticipate this All-Ireland football semi-final. Big day obviously for Tip, but it's going to be a bigger day for Tyrone or Armagh, Joe Brody.
Yeah, well, this is the big game. You know, I mean, I was talking to the McEntee boys after the Laois Armagh game, and they said, like, well, you know, Tyrone will beat the Dubs easily, like, and they knew that they would have to face Tyrone again, and I think everyone knew this game was coming around, and it's the biggest game of the year, you know, and I expect an epic contest in the same way as their two Ulster final meetings were epic, because the truth is that, you know, what great sport does is it strips a man bare, and you can see really what he's made of, and that's what the Tyrone Armagh games have done. You know, we've seen a lot of exciting football and good games and all of that, but nothing like that sort of intensity, and there'll be more today.
And I suppose the other thing about it is, Colin, the fact that this is their third meeting. It will, I suppose, put to rest this year who is the better team, because Tyrone might have won the first day, the drawn game, and then they were beaten the second day. So now we'll see today who are the best team.
Absolutely, I suppose the advantage, you know, in terms of general play over the two games favoured Tyrone, and they won neither. Now, you know, they have a chance to rectify it in other years. They would be at home in Tyrone watching Armagh in an All-Ireland semi-final and feeling very sore about themselves. At least now this backdoor system gives them an opportunity to put what they think is the wrongs of the past to right today. And they're going to have to play really well, because we saw that Armagh were sluggish against Tyrone, but when they came out against Laois, they looked a totally different team with a couple of weeks break.
We saw just for a second there, the geezer, Kieran McGeeney, he's in the Armagh team today, and I suppose on the other side of it, Joe, Mickey Hart isn't even bothering with the pretense about Peter Canavan today.
No, and, well, McGeeney will just, I mean, the first day in the Ulster final, they sent him out to man Mark Brian McGuigan, but that was an idea that ran out of currency very quickly indeed. And McGeeney, you'll see him today, he'll just protect his fullbacks, and he'd stop up, and Armagh will have 5 halfbacks today. They'll flood the halfback area, because they were very concerned after the first game against Tyrone, because Tyrone just ran through them at will. Tyrone, as we saw against Dublin and against Armagh, devastating counter-attackers. I mean, they pick up the ball in their own full back line. They'll sweep the length of the field in no time and score. And so Armagh are very conscious of that. They're stringing a line across the half-back line. And, I mean, the big advantage that Armagh has is the psychological advantage. I think that some of the Tyrone players wouldn't be human if they didn't think at this stage we'll never beat these guys. Tyrone's advantage is the pace and their overall quality.
Yeah. OK, gentlemen, let's hear from the rival managers. You know them very well by now, of course. Armagh's Joe Kernan and the Tyrone boss, Mickey Hart. And they've been talking to Marty Morrissey.
Let's talk about team selection. Any changes, any late dramatic alterations?
Everything is as was selected during the week. Everybody's fitting round to go.
So that means Kieran McGeeney will play at centre-back?
Definitely. He's 100% recovered from the niggle that he had, and he's mad to get out there.
Most experts are saying that this is going to be a tactical game, Joe. So let me just ask you one specific one. Will Francie Bellew play at full-back, and will he take up Stephen O'Neill, considering what happened in the Ulster final?
Well, I'll put it this way to you. Sometimes tactics goes out the door as soon as the game starts, and it happens in most cases like that, but Francie will be in and around the square all day. That's all I'll say.
Talk to me about the approach to this game, because you seem to have, and this is in inverted commas, an easier passage, because Tyrone were playing last week here against Dublin. Well,
I think this is our 7th or 8th game as well. We had the preliminary round in Ulster, which, you know, we played a lot of matches. We scraped through a few of them. We've been lucky on a few occasions, but I think we played well last week, so I think we're coming to form at the right time, a bit like Tyrone.
Looking forward to this match?
We certainly are. Anybody involved in Gaelic football at the moment at inter-county level like to be playing in September. It is the month of September and we're still there, so we're one step away from the big day, the final, same as Armagh, but it's a major step.
Talk to me about team selection, because you have a few rather surprises, mild surprises at least.
I'd never be surprised by any selection. I think that modern day Gaelic games has become much more of a fluid situation. There aren't people for positions and they're rigidly stick there. Defenders often find themselves up in attacking positions and score. Likewise, forwards are often the last line of defence. The game just moves like that at the moment, and I think any player, regardless of the position he lines out in, ought to be able to play anywhere.
Why did you choose Brian Meenan for this particular match at centre field?
Brian Meenan's been with the panel all year. He played a lot of good games in the National League. I suppose throughout the year we lost Colin Holmes through injury. We've had a few permutations there in the middle of the field. We changed our defence a little bit. Joe McMahon, I suppose, was another option for the middle of the field. And because we've moved people around to other departments, then Brian's turn had come to come into the middle of the field, and I've no doubt he'll do well there.
And There, by the way, is the record of the two managers, Joe Kernan and Mickey Hart, since they came into their respective jobs with Armagh and Tyrone, and brilliant records they are. Just 3 losses each out of 27 games in the case of Armagh, 23 games in the case of Tyrone. The question is, though, in which way will that statistic be altered at the end of this particular match here this afternoon? Colin Burke, you've been looking at the Tyrone warm-up here and how they go about the way they warm up and prepare for these matches, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, in the old days, I suppose everybody just wandered onto the pitch before a match and had a bit of a kick around, a few shots in and out. But Tyrone, a bit like Armagh, they leave nothing to chance. They work on all of the skills before it starts off. And if we saw them in action there in some of the hand-passing drills, they were doing them at sheer pace, left hand, right hand. They were doing the pick-up off the ground, the ball hopping into the chest, short kick, long kick. So they practice each of the skills of the game before the game starts and get them up to match speed. So when the ball is thrown in, they're ready to go. Yeah, they do. And you've somebody's been watching them during the week training, you were saying.
No, just a fella, a coach who's very interested in all this and has travelled the world, and he went to see the Tyrone training and he couldn't believe the pace of their, and the intensity. They started at the diagonal. They went from one corner of the pitch to the other in threes, weaving in and out, giving the ball, and he was timing it. He said it was absolutely incredible, the intensity and how they were able to maintain that. Don't know if you saw an interview with John McCluskey in the Irish Times during the week, the Armagh coach. He had finished off his day at just before midnight, where he had travelled to Dublin to supervise the two McNultys doing weight training in the gymnasium down there. And he said that outside of Tyrone and Armagh, he said, all but 2 or 3 clubs in the Premiership are in the dark ages when it comes to training. Yeah. So that gives you some idea of the expertise that's brought to bear in the Armagh and Tyrone camps in every aspect of their lives.
It gives you an idea too of the sort of self-motivation that's needed to be a county player anymore, because not only do you meet twice a week, and they all say we only train twice a week, Tyrone say that, but each player trains every day on their own, and they have a schedule. It's quite a scientific thing. It's not just left to chance. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, we have a commercial break here on the programme. After that, we continue our build-up to the All-Ireland football semi-final. It's Armagh versus Tyrone.
Lots of colour, lots of fans from the two counties here. Let's do it. Yes, Michael, well, we're here outside the Hogan stand. Great buzz, lots of colour, lots of fans from the two counties here, and I have supporters from either side here. I'm going to start with Paul from Armagh. Paul, are you going to win today?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Armagh by 4 points.
By 4? 4 points. Why are you so confident?
There was only a dress rehearsal in the replay of the Ulster, and it's time to put it to bed. Armagh's the best.
Well, OK, Paul, that's the view from Paul. Let's get the Tyrone view. Louis, Armagh very confident.
I know they're confident out there now, but I think it's third time lucky not there for Tyrone. Not there. They've put in a big effort this game, not there. I'll say at least not there 3 points for Tyrone.
The Ulster final, those 2 games, will that have any bearing on today?
It will have a big bearing on there, not there. I think not there, but I think not there. Tyrone has learned a lot not there for his last 2 games, not there. But I have to get at least 3 points, 3 to 4 points, not there. I'd be very happy, not there. I'd say all the Tyrone supporters would be more than happy, I would think.
OK, Louis, thanks a lot. And Paul as well. Great colour out here, brilliant atmosphere building. We'll be back after this break.
Come on!
The RTE and the Bank of Ireland would like to send you to the match. There's overnight accommodation included. So if you want to be in with the chance for that, here's what you do. Select your man of the match from today's game and phone your choice to 1515 717182, or you can text or send match followed by your choice to 57111. Viewers from Northern Ireland should phone 0901 0630 118. The lines are open until 6 o'clock this evening. The winner will be announced on tonight's Sunday game programme, and you can check all of those details also on Airtel page 193. But the big question, of course, is who will you be going to see playing in the final? It'll be Kerry and who, Colin?
Well, I think Tyrone. I went for them in the 2 previous matches. I think that they have a better team selection to counter Armagh today, assuming Brian Meenan does okay at midfield. I think they have more pace and better individual players in more positions than Armagh.
Joe?
Tyrone, Armagh, Tyrone. Can I make
change your mind every
Can I
second?
make my mind up at half-time? No, I think it's impossible. Toss a point.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for that. Our commentators for the big match this afternoon are Kevin McStay and Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Michael. Good afternoon and welcome to Croke Park for the second of this season's Bank of Ireland All-Ireland football semi-finals. They've met 32 times today. This will be the 32nd championship match. Armagh with 19 victories, Tyrone with just 12. This is the Armagh side. Armagh manager Joe Kernan redesigns his team with both expected and unexpected changes. Nobody will be surprised to see Kieran McGeeney return to centre-back, but there might be a few raised eyebrows that Enda McNulty finds himself sitting the start of this one in the Hogan stand. Definitely unexpected was the selection of Paddy McKeever at number 11. But perhaps the deciding factor in this All-Ireland football semi-final could turn out to be the performance of number 3, Francie Bellew. Remember the Ulster final replay? Well, Francie hasn't forgotten, so I'm sure the fullback from Crossmaglen is eagerly looking forward to meeting Stephen O'Neill yet again. But Armagh don't have exclusivity on changes. Interestingly, Tyrone manager Mickey Hart selects Joe McMahon at fullback, taking a close look at centre field. Killy Clogher's Brian Meenan starts his very first championship match here in Croke Park in an All-Ireland semi-final. Cast your eyes to the attack, and there's no space available for a young man called Peter Canavan. The onus of responsibility in the midfield region may fall on the young shoulders of Sean Kavanagh. The 22-year-old from Moy has been a prominent force, and his value as a worker as well as a scorer cannot be underestimated. It's a very large crowd here in Croke Park. They're expecting around 70,000. It's a repeat of the All-Ireland final of 2003. We'll be right back shortly after this commercial break. Croke Park as we now pause for Aran Navian. Des Willoughby from County Wicklow singing the Aran Navian for the third time in his career.
Aran Navian.
Between these two neighbouring counties since 2000. Joining me in the commentary position, former Mayo footballer and Mayo star, Kevin McStay. Quick word, Kevin, who do you think is going to win this?
Well, I've been with Tyrone for quite a while. I think I'm going to stick to them. The word contest, Marty, keeps coming up in my mind. 2002 champions versus the 2003 champions, and the 2004 champions waiting for them, whoever comes through. No easy ball here today in Croke Park. I'm really looking forward to a fantastic contest.
And I think it's not just Armagh and Tyrone people. I think the rest of the country is intrigued by this. Joe Kernan in charge, 27 championship matches, winning 20 of them since he was appointed back in 2001. Mickey Hart, since appointed in November 2002, 23 championship matches, and he's won 15. Paddy Russell from County Tipperary is the match referee. Refereed the All-Ireland finals of 1990 and 1995. Scene is set here, a very large crowd. And Francie Bellew is seemingly taking up marking Owen Mulligan. We'll tell you that in more detail. There it is. You can see how Francie is gone to top of the right as such, right corner back. As we wait for Paddy Russell to start this Bank of Ireland football semi-final. Who's going to play Kerry at the end of September? Tyrone or Armagh? The repeat of the Ulster final. Draw and replay. Controversial ending. That was the old story. The new story begins today, and it's Armagh with the ball just inside their own half of the field. Mark O'Rourke giving it back to Kieran McGeeney. How will he cope with Brian McGuigan this afternoon? Paddy McKeever selected at centre half forward. Good interception. Joe McMahon lays it off to his captain Brian Dooher. Back to McMahon once more. He's earned his spurs being a substitute and coming on. Now he starts this afternoon. Sean Kavanagh brought to ground, comes back to the Tyrone captain Brian Dooher. We have the first free, and that's going to Tyrone, who by the way won the toss and opted to play, as you can now see, from left to right. And there's a swirling breeze around Croke Park as well. It could well be a factor. Let's see. Francie Bellew gets there ahead of Owen Mulligan, knocks it down towards Paddy McKeever. Didn't anticipate Philip Jordan arriving ahead of him. This is the young man from Moy. Trying to get inside the cover. Coming through is Stephen O'Neill. Hit by Paddy McKeever. By Francie Bellew, rather. Comes outside. Carries the right corner forward to Ryan Mellon. And Ryan Mellon comes into a tussle. And the referee, yes, has blown his whistle.
Can't hear it.
You can't actually hear the whistle up here at the moment.
Yeah. Noise level serious.
This is Paul Hearty taking his first kick in this All-Ireland semi-final. Just 1 minute and 43 seconds played. Breaking ball gathered by McGuinney. Opts for the long ball. He was under pressure from Brian McGuigan. A race for Stevie McDonald. Did well to keep it in. Kept the ball in. Coming through the centre is right corner forward Brian Mallon. Onto the left boot. And right across the face of the goal. And now it's gone over the end line.
You can actually see the keeper was trying very hard to keep it in play, Marty, because he doesn't want particularly to be taking kickouts. There has been some criticism about the Tyrone kickouts. Haven't been hectic over the last few days, but on this occasion it did drift wide.
Mickey Hart, member of the Errigal Kieran Club in Ballygawley, started in November 2002 and has been such a phenomenal success. Tyrone once more, start the process. Enda McGinley, knocked away from him by Paul McGrain. Going to be a sideline ball for Tyrone. Captain of Tyrone, Brian Doohan. McGeaney, breaking ball, favours Brian McGuigan. Onto the pad of Ryan Mellon. Oh, Hearty saves magnificently. And Francie Bellew takes the rebound away, out of the danger zone. Far as Paul McGrain. Opts for the long ball. Down first Martin O'Rourke. Got a knock accidentally, I would imagine, from Conor Gormley. But Martin O'Rourke has gone down and Paddy Russell has blown his whistle.
It was high.
He's going to give a free to Armagh.
Yes, definitely. I think the referee is happy enough with the contact, as you did say, a little bit incidental, but it was high. And Martin O'Rourke isn't a fellow that'll go down easily.
It's only a warning for Michael McGee, actually, that seems to be the guilty party. Back out tries Martin O'Rourke. Calling from this is brother Aidan O'Rourke. Opts instead for Brian Mallon, who's very energetic, very vibrant in the opening couple of minutes. Down tries Ronan Clark. Loses possession, loose ball, just getting a toe to it. Comes back out, tries Brian Dooher once more, who's gone from right wing to left wing. And they're both defensive positions, half-back, right half-back and left half-back. Comes down towards Andy Mallon. In the centre is McGeaney, orchestrating things once again, half deflected. This time by Sean Kavanagh. Owen Mulligan battling with Francie Bellew. Mulligan. Look at where Stevie McDonald is. Ball back outside. They have to regain. The referee has blown his whistle. And it really is hard to hear up here this afternoon.
It is, yeah, there's no question, but Paddy Russell had blown it some time ago, issued a black warning to Francie and is giving the free into Tyrone. The din here is hard to describe. I can hardly hear myself really. It's very, very loud.
This is the incident again as Owen Mulligan got there ahead of Francie Bellew. Stevie McDonald was back there as well. And the referee somewhere there in the middle of all that had blown his whistle. Having a word with the linesman, Dave Coldrick from County Meath. So it's going to be a free for Tyrone, going to be taken by Owen Mulligan. 29-year-old Francie Bellew on the goal line. Mulligan with the free. And that goes over the bar. Five minutes played. First score to Tyrone.
Good one too. He's up and running. That's the one thing that Armagh won't want, is his confidence levels beginning to soar.
This was a spectacular save from Paul Hearty. Ryan Mellon was under pressure, but Hearty deflected it magnificently. That'll make up for the goal he conceded to Laois the last day and do his confidence the world of good. Mark O'Rourke flicking it outside, far as Teddy McKeever. With him is Philip Jordan. Coming through is Brian Mallon again. Build-up is slow, but it's intercepted this time by Brian McGuigan. Somehow manages to get it as far as Conor Gormley, and Tyrone come away with it. Brian McMenamin past his 45, past the Armagh 65, cutting open this Armagh defence. This is Brian Meenan trying to get it inside for his own Mulligan. It slipped through Francie's grasp. It's Mulligan onto his favourite right boot, and that has gone wide. Anxious moments for Armagh. This ball was slipped through all the way for as Mulligan. Did well to get it onto his right boot, but it just tailed to the left and wide.
Marty, the depth of the Tyrone defence is amazing. When they came out with that attack, there were 3 players between the midfield and the end line. Three attackers and 3 defenders only. Huge space. I think Tyrone want to break into those spaces.
Andy Mallon seems to be taking on the responsibility of Ryan Mellon, and Aaron Kernan has now gone into a half midfield almost area, but of course positions mean very little in the modern game of football. Oisin McConville, a little bit over exuberant there perhaps, as Ryan McMenamin seemed to be fouled. He's okay. It's a little public warning again for one of the Armagh players, Oisin McConville. Conor Gormley getting away from Kieran McGeeney, which is not an easy task. Good burst of speed. Chance of a finish here, and it's gone over the bar. Sean Cavger gets the score. He did so well here. Got inside McGeeney, had the composure to get himself into a good position, and then belted over the bar.
And that's all about the quick step. We've seen a lot of that from Sean this season. Comes up close in your face and does a quick shuffle of the feet, change over from left to right and burst by you, and that's how he's losing his man on the attack.
Kick out by Paul Hearty, goes down the middle channel. Picked up once more by Aaron Kernan, under pressure from Brian McGuigan. Still Kernan, lays it off. There's Brian Mallon, who's showing very well for the ball. Mark O'Rourke pumps it in towards Ronan Clark, but you notice that Conor Gormley has taken up a position in front of Clark, and indeed the man that's marking him, Joe McMahon. This is Brian McGuigan. Coming down this side in front of the Hogan stand, kicking it in front of Brian Meenan. Anticipating that, however, was Philip Loughlin, who loses possession. Meenan gets it for his Mulligan, who in turn loses out to Aaron Kernan. This is Paul McGrain. Opts for the long ball. It's 2 against 1 here, and the one is Stevie McDonald. Onto the trusty left boot. Has he judged it correctly? He has. First score for Armagh after 9.5 minutes of play. Ryan McMenamin seems to have picked up an injury here. To have fallen out awkwardly, and it just seems to be the back of his right knee there.
It looks like a calf injury, but the last point, Marty, the judicious use of the backside by McDonald to take 2 guys out of it onto his left and swung it over beautifully. What a score, what a score by McDonald.
And he really did well here, because he was 2 against 1. You could see that little touch Kevin is talking about, made the space and then judged it absolutely perfectly. Ryan McMenamin has had the most interesting journey through this championship. So too has manager Joe Kernan. His record is certainly something to admire. One of his own clubmen, of course, from Crossmaglen is Paul Hearty.
A little worrying for Tyrone that McMenamin has picked up a knock in the calf. They can be hard to shake off, but he's picking up the danger man McDonald.
Kick out by Pascal McConnell. Fabulous catch by Enda McGinley. Touch the ball along the ground. Going to be a free for Armagh. McGeeney showing well. Missed the last match with a slight hamstring strain, so wasn't selected, but could have played against Laois if the man was there. The ball into the space is for Brian Dooher. Owen Mulligan wants it flicked inside quickly. It's a great ball into Mulligan. Tries to dominate, takes a shot, and sends it over the bar. He really also has had an interesting journey. He lost his form around May or June, came on against Dublin, scored a spectacular goal. Now he's on the starting 15, and you can see why here.
Bad call by Francie though, went into no man's land, thought he might cut out Brian Dooher and went for it, but he didn't get there. Quick flick into Mulligan, took a lot of steps actually before he walloped it over the bar because he had a goal in his mind, had to settle for the point. 2 for him now.
Kick out by Paul Hirty. Philip Lockwood. Brian Mallon. Back to Aaron Kernan. To McGeeney. McDonald is making the run over towards the Kazakhstan side. Ryan McMenamin with him. McDonald aims for Ronan Clark. Joe McMahon stands his ground. Clark forces his way forward. It's loose and it comes back to a Tyrone man. Very, very dangerous moment from a Tyrone perspective. This is Enda McGinley. Gives it back once more to Joe McMahon. Davy Hart actually. Into the space. Ryan Mellon running on. Stays just about inside the playing arena. It's a shoulder by Kieran McKeever. Paddy McKeever. High challenge by Stephen O'Neill. Stephen O'Neill, I'm sure, is going to get a public warning as well. Down at the other end, by the way, it looks like the goalkeeper, Pascal McConnell, has picked up an injury. You can see the team doctor is just having a care there for a facial injury. This is Ronan Clark coming in here along the end line. He did very well. But the ball came free, but you can see Clark collided with McConnell accidentally. Pascal McConnell, who injured his ribs and sternum against Cavan in the drawn match. As we look at this again, Kevin.
It's hard to see where the contact is. We just see Clark here when he's getting up.
Just there, just to see he rolled over. It was an accident. Yeah. So Pascal, bloodied nose and all, stands his ground between the posts as Aidan O'Rourke takes this free. Martin O'Rourke. Davy Hart with him. Goes off a Tyrone knee. Picked up by Paddy McKeever. Survives the challenge from Philip Jordan. He didn't particularly like that challenge. It was a man called Paddy Russell. So it's going to be a free for Armagh.
Coming up to the first quarter now, Marty, another couple of minutes, and you'd have to say Tyrone have settled well, are breaking better, and look the more composed side. Armagh finding scores hard to come by.
Oisin McConville looking good from here, but it's curling. And it's curling to the left and wide. 14.5 minutes played. 2 points between the teams. This is the incident again. You can see when Ronan Clark rolls over. There's the accidental tip off the nose of Pascal McConnell. Good lengthy kick out by Pascal McConnell. And it's a game of volleyball there in the middle of the pitch. Philip Loughran is being fouled. It's going to be a free for Armagh. Kieran McGeeney takes it quickly. It's a poor one. Brian Mallon unable to reach it. Sean Kavanagh was subsequently fouled. So Philip Jordan has the free. Sit into the space, well gathered by Kieran McKeever. Kieran McGeeney looks for that crossfield ball for McDonald. Aidan O'Rourke is providing the overlap. McDonald hits it with the right, but it's well wide. As you were mentioning, Kevin, you'd have to say that Armagh are finding it hard just to find their rhythm. Tyrone looked a little bit more incisive, a little bit more dangerous going into the attack.
Yeah, McDonald seems to be the most dangerous man. He is showing up in front of his man and he's getting ball, but he's not able to bring the rest of the team in, the rest of the attack into it, because their movement isn't just quite as good. Whereas up on Tyrone, when they attack, the space is so vast, Marty, they can just bang the ball in to advantage and they're going to win it.
Again, Pascal McConnell uses the middle channel, picked up by Mark O'Rourke. Stephen McDonald battles hard to regain possession. Brian Mallon comes in the overlap. Brought to ground. Combination of Michael McGee and Brian Dooher. And it's going to be a free in for Armagh. Another public warning, this time for the Tyrone captain. Once more, it's going to be Oisin McConville that's going to take it. Going for his first point in this All-Ireland semi-final. Conville curls it nicely, sends it over the bar.
I was reading today in one of the papers, these guys have played them 7 or 8 times this decade, and I think the aggregate scores, there's only 1 point between them. Isn't it shaping up already just like that?
Are you predicting a draw, Kevin McStay?
Well, they are so closely matched, Marty, you couldn't see beyond it. But when we get to the last few minutes, we'll see.
Nicely picked up by Aaron Kernan. Available in the centre, Kieran McGeeney. Tries to find McDonald nearly every single time, whether McDonald is at right or left corner forward. Stephen O'Neill playing a very deep role to Brian McGuigan. Look at O'Neill going for the return. Just took a little bit too much pace in it. Easily picked up by Philip Loughran and Paul McGrath. Aidan O'Rourke over this side. Again, it's aimed at McDonald, grabbed by Ryan McMenamin. That's going to be an interesting battle all afternoon. Brian Dooher, Mars McGuigan. Oisin McConville seems to taking to marking him nearly all the time. Last few flashes. This is Ryan Mellon. With him is Andy Mallon. Too many Armagh jerseys there, at least there should be. Kieran McKeever is fouled. That's going to be a fray for Armagh. Quickly taken. Paul McGrath lays it off to McGeeney. 3 Tyrone players converge on him. The free quickly taken again. No hanging about. This one is aimed for Ronan Clark. Paddy McKeever to his left. Good defending, very good defending by Joe McMahon. Superb, absolutely brilliant. And the referee has given a free against him.
Was it a pickup he was looking at? I'm not sure, but it was fantastic defending. We were admiring it. Was it a pickup off the ground? Perhaps it was, Marty.
Well, it's unfortunate because Joe McMahon did everything right there. Aaron Kernan, Oisin McConville, Paddy McKeever. Back to McConville once more. Trying to cut inside. It's not a good ball. And once more, Tyrone have it. Conor Gormley coming from centre half back to Davy Hart. 23-year-old from Errigal Kieran. It's part of the under-21 team that lost the All-Ireland finals in Dublin 3 years ago, in a semi-final rather. Francie Bellew wins this particular battle. 2 of them, 2 Tyrone players converge on him. And the free is given to Francie Bellew. Philip Loughran. It's a poor ball. Fires Philip Jordan. Bats it down for McGuigan to take it up. It's non-stop action since this game started at half-3. Brian Dooher to his right is Enda McKinley. Dooher thought he would put this one over the bar, but the umpires disagree. That's Tyrone's second wide of the game for Tyrone.
Yeah, there's Clark. Fantastic. This McMahon, this is really front-up defending. Now this is really looking for the ball. I want that ball. I have it.
No, he didn't pick it up.
That was a good pickup. Missed it. I don't know what exactly that was for with the referee.
Pick out by Paul Hirty. High passes Philip Loughran, but it comes to Paul McGrath. Half blocked by Enda McGinley. Back there again is Conor Gormley. Michael McGee. They spread the ball over to the far side. Look at the running by the left corner back, Michael McGee. With them is Brian Mallon. Over for Stephen O'Neill, who's gone back into the full forward line to keep Kieran McKeever company. This is O'Neill. Good defending by McKeever. Puts the full forward under pressure, and the ball has gone wide.
Great defending, stuck with his task, and sometimes Stephen O'Neill gets a little bit frustrated and his shot selection can be silly, and that was a silly one. Just he couldn't get by the defender, should have developed the play a little bit differently, but didn't.
Well, we wondered during the Ulster final draw replay why Francie was being left on Stephen O'Neill, but I think so far you'd have to say that Joe Kernan has got the strategy right by putting McKeever on Stephen O'Neill.
Well, just look at the scoreline, 3-2, the matchups are perfect.
Great catch by Paul McGrain. Into the centre is Kieran McGeeney. Pumping it long towards Ronan Clark or McDonald. He doesn't really mind. Comes to Ryan McMiniman. Ryan Dooher to his right. Uses Davy Hart. Good ball up towards Brian McGuigan. At least it should have been. Battles with Kieran McGeeney. Nice hand back far as Oisin McConville. Coming from right corner back is Andy Mallon at speed. Back to Mallon once more. Nice overlap. Good running by the corner back. Over for Stevie McDonald. This is going to be a very good score if he can put it over. Credit Andy Mallon for the score will stand to Stevie McDonald. Level for the first time after 22 minutes of play. The finish was superb, and the creativity by Mallon was absolutely brilliant.
The incision, Marty, the speed he came at like a train, won his ball out front, popped, took it again, and a great foot pass, and then the finish that caps it all off. Like, the move is no good unless you have someone like McDonald to swing them over.
Well gathered by Enda McGinley. Just couldn't quite get it as Brian Dooher. McKeaney again got his hand in there. There's Oisin McConville. Brought to ground. A little bit the clash there with Michael McGee. But the free is going to be to Armagh. Some dissent, obviously. Paul McGrain. 2 against 2 here. Breaking ball. Picked up once more by Joe McMahon, who's doing very well at fullback. And like we praised Joe Kernan a while ago about strategy switch, I think the decision to play Joe McMahon at fullback is working so far. Ryan Dooher. Philip Loughran did very well. Forced Dooher to go back and then blocked it a second time. The tenacity of this Armagh team shown in that little sequence. Kieran McKeever to Stevie McDonald. He's going to aim at Ronan Clark, who makes the diagonal run. Clark trying to get inside Ryan McMiniman. Clark on the 13-metre line, curls it across the face of the goal and wide. For Armagh's 4th wide of the game.
And such a critical turnover that if Armagh were able to score, the ride that would have given the team, the fans, the whole support base for Armagh would have gone crazy. But it is that tenacity, that really will to want that ball, that they go chasing it and harrying it and knocking it out of your hands.
Pascal McConnell, 6'4" goalkeeper from Newtown Stewart. 25 years of age since April. Getting this one out for us, Philip Jordan. 25 since the 3rd of May. 3 to the Tyrone number 7. Looking around for options. And at the moment there are very few. Has to go back for Joe McMahon. McMahon once more. From Omagh St. Enda's into the space, but it's a tour ball. Easily picked up by Martin O'Rourke. McGeeney playing almost on the 40. Laying it off fires Aaron Kernan. Inside fires Ronan Clark. Kernan wants it back. The return is there. Gibbon. Fires Aidan O'Rourke. All-Star 2002. Has to swing it in. McDonald is at the end of it. Is there holding? Some Armagh people want a penalty, claiming one. I doubt it. Philip Jordan comes away with it. And it's a free for Tyrone.
Paddy McKeever is going to get a tick because the Tyrone defence are not happy. There's a lot of tactical fouling going on as you're bringing out the ball.
Here's Brian McGuigan. Fortunately, Brian Meenan took his eye off the ball. Comes first Philip Loughran. Martin O'Rourke. Paul McGrain. Kieran McGeeney. Aidan O'Rourke. They're going at Tyrone in waves. Oisin McConville. going for a point from way out there, and it's well to the right. Armagh's 5th wide. And I'll mention again about this swirling breeze that's around Croke Park today.
Yes, it's slightly favouring Armagh, I feel,
Yeah,
but
I
it
think
is
so.
swirling. It's very tight, Mark. It's 3 points each. You know, the scoreboard isn't clicking, that's for sure. Every point so hard here.
Kick out. Knocked away by Paul McGrain. Picked up by Conor Gormley. Philip Jordan. And it's Gormley once more. Made his debut against Armagh 3 years ago. Look at the space. It's the corner back, Michael McGee. Flicking it in for his own mulligan. Francie is there. And he hits the shoulder and he can receive a shoulder as well. Philip Loughran. Nice ball. Good distribution. Coming through the centre is Kieran McGeaney. Flicking it over to the far side is Oisín McConville, who's unmarked at the moment. Philip Jordan goes over to keep him company. McConville zigging and zagging. Here's a shot from McDonnell, and this one is well off the target. Easily picked up by Brian McGuigan. And the space is gradually becoming more and more evident in both sides. They really couldn't keep up that pace all through the 35 minutes. Davy Hart, Brian McMenamin comes from right corner back. Paddy McKeever chases after him. Down towards own Mulligan and Ryan Mallon. Mallon staying with him is Andy Mallon. Owen Mulligan given the space, drops this one in and comes off the post and wide. It was almost like he kicked it in slow motion.
Well, you could see exactly when he got the pass back from Ryan Millen. People stood off him. He said, I'll slice this one with the outside of the right, and how close he was. Millimetres.
Still 3 points for each side as Enda McGinley seems to have picked up an injury. Here's a man who's won so much with his own clubmates. Mickey Hart won a minor All-Ireland in 221s. And has scored 3 points in this championship campaign so far. You may recall he played midfield the last day against Dublin, but now switched back to his more familiar role. He's always played a corner forward rather than midfield or wing forward. Francie Bellew has also picked up an injury. Came in for Paul McCormack to mark Sean Kavanagh for the Ulster Championship of 2002, and he's been there ever since. Born on the 25th of March 1976.
Rock solid, rock solid.
Joe Kernan having a chat with his fellow selectors, Paul Grimley and John McCluskey there, thinking about a change. Mickey Hart always concentrating and focused like his players, as Enda McGinley returns to the left half forward position. Breaking ball picked up by Enda McGinley. Brian Dewar lays it off. In for Stephen O'Neill. Kieran McKeever gets a touch to it. Did well. Paddy McKeever playing on the 40 with 11 on his back, but almost playing as an extra halfback. Mark O'Rourke. McKeever is to his left, unmarked. Goes for the long ball. It's too long. Joe McMahon has to go back and gather. Does so. Ryan McMenamin is available. And here comes Tyrone once more. Philip Jordan tries to bring Brian Dewar into the action. He's now playing in a left half-back position. Not a great ball from Dewar, but he knew he had all the time in the world to find Philip Jordan. Scorer of a goal and 2 points so far in the championship from the left half-back position. Backfires Mulligan. Francie arrives a little bit late, but Owen Mulligan sends it wide.
Referee is giving it though. Referee is giving it. He judges that to be late. We'll have to see it again. It was fractional now. You'd have to say it. All sailed wide, but Paddy Russell is giving the free. It'll be interesting to see will he give him the card because he's ticked already.
And Paddy Russell is telling Francie, you cannot tackle the man anyway late.
Well, you see, sometimes, Marky, your reputation goes before you. I think in that incident, Francie Bellew is decidedly unlucky.
Yeah. And in fairness, he did go to try and block the ball, and he arrived just that little bit too late. Well, you can see from that angle, maybe he wasn't quite trying to block the ball.
I got there as early as I could, ref.
Meanwhile, Owen Mulligan is requiring some attention.
Of course, what it will mean is there's a tap over free for Tyrone when all this settles down, so they're going to take the lead as we approach half-time.
For a man who missed an awful lot of the championship in terms of starting 15, he scored 2 goals and 14 points so far. And here's Tyrone's top scorer, 4 goals and 41 points. And his name is on the scoreboard for his first point in this All-Ireland semi-final.
I think Tyrone will be the happier team as we do approach half-time. They're dealing very well with the high ball into the Armagh attack. They're doing very, very well. Joe McMahon, exceptional. Ryan McMenamin, exceptional. Armagh, of course, only a point in it, still ticking away.
It's a tough, tense battle here in Croke Park. 3-2 Tyrone for a pick-up off the grounds. Brian Dooher takes it quickly. Tries Sean Kavanagh. Here McGeaney with them. 22-year-olds taking on a man who'll be 34 on the 18th of October. Sean Kavanagh gives it inside, but easy interception by McKeever. Ball given away by McGrain. And McGinley to Brian Dooher, coming through the centre. Armagh all over him. The ball is loose, it's free. Here McGeaney can't get to his feet quick enough. He has it. Lays it off as Andy Mallon from the Pearsall Club. But gives it to Aidan O'Rourke from Drummond T.
He's lost it.
And he's lost it. Into McGinley. Back by his own Mulligan. About to be challenged by Brian Mallon. Lays it back. It may be scrappy, but it's pretty tense.
Have it again, Marty.
And it's Paul McGrain. And it's a free for Armagh. And away come Armagh. Brian Mallon. Past the 65. Past the 45. Heading towards the 20. Going towards the 13. Takes the shot. And it's over the bar.
That's inspirational, isn't it?
Previous with Andy Mallon coming from right corner back. This is Brian Mallon coming from deep inside his own half of the field. Number 15 on his back. A fantastic run and a great point at the end of it.
Oh, that's a cracker. That is a fantastic score. I should mention while all this was happening, Enda McGinley has picked up another knock on top of the one we looked at earlier. He is certainly struggling with that at the moment, but a great score from Brian Mallon.
Substitution there, as you can see. Tony McEntee is on for Philip Loughran. Level for the second time after 33 minutes. And there was a very noticeable sequence of play when Tyrone were inside the Armagh 45. Tremendous tackling, defending by Armagh, and a wonderful run by Mallon. Brian Mallon. Testing ball for Francie Bellew. Gets down. Oh, it's a bone cruncher, and Bellew has gone down. You could feel the pain of it up here on the 7th floor of the Hogan stand. Comes down far as Ryan Mellon. Bellew is still down, but it's Tyrone that have possession in the shape and form of Davy Hart. Brian Dooher. Davy wants it once more. Dooher thinking about a shot. Gives it back to his right half back. Dropping this in. Aidan O'Rourke seems to be holding on to Owen Mulligan. O'Rourke has gone down. Referee doesn't blow a whistle.
Penalty.
And it's not a penalty.
Absolutely.
Well, Aidan O'Rourke would claim that he was fouled by Owen Mulligan previously. He seemed to go down like a sack of spuds very, very quickly. The referee didn't blow a whistle, and subsequently, I think there is no doubt this is a penalty.
Well, there was a couple of things. Certainly Mulligan appeared to be held in the first instance, but he lost his marker. We will see in replay how he did that. And I'd say it was a little backhander, put him down pretty quickly. Ball broke in, definitely a penalty.
And the umpire has had a word with the referee, and there's been a little bit of argy-bargy going on off camera, and Ryan Mellon just telling Owen Mulligan to get away from it. Now remember, there is great rivalry between these counties, and this has been a very tense encounter so far. Let's just look at this
ball
yet,
comes
Kevin.
across. I think the earlier incidents when the ball comes across, actually, when the defender is coming up front.
I think there's a little bit of acting going on here now, I have to say, in that incident. But Owen Mulligan is being spoken to despite that. And I have to also give credit to the umpire who contacted Paddy Russell and told Owen Mulligan told the referee what was going on behind his back.
And this doesn't make it easy now for the penalty taker. It's a minute and a half since the award was given. We're deep into injury time.
Meanwhile, Francis Bellew has gathered his thoughts and is back up after some medical attention. Now, I have to say, I saw Stephen O'Neill take 2 penalties. I think the first was against Cavan, second was against Dublin. I could be wrong, that's off the top of the head. And here he is with his third, facing Paul Hearty. Paul Hearty, all 6'4". And I have to give credit to Stephen O'Neill. Up to now, his 2 penalties have been stuck to Paul Hearty's left in the bottom corner. Not saying he's going to do it again.
Who's been studying the video tapes?
I've had a look a couple of times. Here's O'Neill. I'm sure Paul Hearty has done the same. Will he go to Paul Hearty's left as we look at it? And he did!
It's a key moment.
Absolutely fantastic penalty, and every single time he's put it into the same corner. 3 times, 3 penalties.
You see, Marty, I think you were a goalkeeper in your youth, and you'd be looking out for this sort of thing. It doesn't matter that he knows that it's a brilliant penalty. Stuck, beautiful height, right to the stanchion. Fantastic finish.
3 minutes of additional time in this first half. Is this the turning point? Aidan O'Rourke. Did he go down? Did he get hit by Owen Mulligan? No doubt that O'Neill was fouled, but I wonder, was Aidan O'Rourke fouled just prior to that? Sideline ball, far side. Ryan McMenamin is disagreeing with Dave Coldrick, who refereed several championship matches and did a very good job, I must say, as well. This one is dropping in, and it's over the bar.
It's a good one.
Kieran
really
McGuinney gets his very first point in the championship.
This is such a key one for Armagh. Puts them back, and look at their captain. Look at the leadership he's shown here. Let's get on with it. Bad call perhaps in his opinion by the ref, but it's a goal. Let's get on, Armagh. Let's tack on another one. And what a great score it is.
Well, it might have been 2-all and 3-all, and we were wondering would it be just about 4 points each at half-time. But certainly in injury time, this game has stepped up a gear. There's an awful lot at stake. There's a place in the All-Ireland football final. A goal after 14 minutes, after 36 and a half minutes by number 14, Stephen O'Neill, from a penalty, is the essential difference between the teams. There's a wonderful atmosphere here in Croke Park. It's very, very tense. Teams going in sportingly in through the Hogan Stand tunnel. No schmozzle, no messing about. They're concentrating on the game of football, and certainly you have to praise as well the officials making sure that that is the case, because this is a very, very tense game. Half-time, Tyrone 1-4, Armagh 5 points. 2 points between the teams here in this All-Ireland semi-final. Let's go down to our sideline reporter, Darren Maloney.
Jared McAleer of Tyrone, your view of that first half?
Well, we're very, very happy to be 1-4 to 5 points ahead. It was pretty evenly matched in the first 15 minutes or so, but in the second half of the first half, Armagh were very, very much on the ascendancy, and we made it easy for them. We didn't tackle, we ran into their wall, we didn't put the ball in first time, they got every breaking ball. So the tide was beginning to turn there when Owen Mulligan had an attack and goal, and then of course the penalty really puts us in the drive. Well, it's not so much in the driving seat, but at least it has even things. It has got us back into the game, really.
Jared, thank you very much for your time. I want to bring Benny Tierney from Armagh. Tension is something else, Benny. What do you think of the first half?
Well, anybody who's expecting an open game of football could be greatly mistaken. It's a war of attrition out there. We've 2 teams who know each other very well, and we're doing our best. We're hanging in. We were in the ascendancy for the latter part of the second half, as Father Jared was saying. The penalty has gone against us, but here we're known for coming back in Armagh, so it could be a tight finish again.
Certainly will. Well done, Benny. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed to Darragh. There's an Armagh woman in the box here beside us. She's heavily pregnant. I hope we're not called into action the way this tension is going in this game. We're going to take a short break here on the Sunday Game Live. We need it. When we come back, we'll be getting the views of Joe and Colin on what we've seen so far in this All-Ireland football semi-final. half-time in the All-Ireland football semi-final. Tyrone leading Armagh 1 goal and 4 points to 5 points. Colin and Joe here with me. Well, you were hedging your bets before the match as to who might win this one. Are you any wiser now?
Pass the heart tablets. I mean, scarcely, I don't know if you've seen one, but scarcely can there have been a more suffocating atmosphere in a game where, you know, players are struggling even to get their hand on the ball. And if the pass isn't inch perfect, it's taken away from them. You know, men are swarming around. I mean, like, for example, in the first half, Armagh dominated the breaking ball. I think they won, out of the first 12 kickouts, they won 11 of them. And on about 9 of those occasions, Tyrone intercepted them as they came away with the ball and tried to do something with it.
It's pure frantic stuff.
Titanic efforts.
Like the power, the pace, the intensity, the passion involved.
So little to show for it.
And but the tension is the main thing, I think, that has gripped the crowd. You know, it's a real man's game. Now, people sitting at home might say, oh, God, there's very few scores in a sense. But, you know, only the bravest of the brave can survive out there. I have rarely seen a game played at such a hectic pace for so little reward on both sides.
And everybody around us is on their feet all the time. Let's go through some of the incidents that have happened here in this game. And, of course, the first and most important one, I suppose, is the penalty just before half-time there.
Yeah, well, this penalty, you know, there's going to be a lot of complaints from Armagh about this penalty, and of course, Brian Dooher gives the ball back, and it comes across, and then we see Aidan O'Rourke and Owen Mulligan tussling. Now, the reason O'Rourke was on Mulligan was because Francie Bellew had gone down injured.
Yeah. Kavanagh had hit Bellew and he went down like a ton of bricks.
And,
I mean, it was
Paddy McKeever comes across eventually to make the tackle. I think it's a penalty. I think he
you can't push him in the back.
He hit him from behind. He had no chance of getting it. But this is a brave penalty. Put it in the same corner as he put against Truxton in the last
particularly, Colin, since he was so under the cosh. Kieran McKeever had been doing a terrific job on him, right up him, you know. And Kieran's a strong fella, so, you know, that was a good idea from Joe Kiernan's point of view, because O'Neill had the strength on Andy Mallon when he was starting to carve him up in the replay in the Ulster final. So, I mean, Armagh will be very contented again that they're hanging on to them, because there were times there when you could see Tyrone streaming up the field, and you thought, oh my God, they must score. I mean, Mulligan has missed 3 or 4 chances. Now, they weren't easy chances, but there were chances that ought to have been taken today, and he's getting the better of Francie, and Francie's nervous and he's making mistakes, and like those are like goal dust, and now Francie's got a yellow card. So I mean, there's every advantage for Mulligan.
He has a yellow card himself. What's more important?
He looks as though he can push on, but he also looks. That's the one position where Armagh looked vulnerable. So a huge responsibilities on Mulligan now, because there are no spaces for anyone else.
No, there haven't been too many opportunities for good scores in this match. But what the scores that we have, we've seen some great scores on both sides.
Great.
Well, Kavanagh kicked a brilliant point. You know, he's running at them every opportunity he gets, and you know, some of the time he's on McGeaney. McGeaney shows him the outside, he cuts in, and you know, once he gets going, there's only one thing that he's on his mind, and that's a long-range point. But he hasn't featured in the game. There's very few people who have imposed their own particular style or their own particular rhythm on the game up to now.
This is a Steve McDonald point, Joe. And,
well, I mean, what can you say? And as Stephen McDonald understands, like all the, you know, all the sort of forwards of that genre, like Colm is a terrific man at it. The ball is won long before it ever comes near you. You nudge the man, you get him off balance. I mean, by the time that ball was coming to him, it was his ball, and the Tyrone defender couldn't do anything because he'd nudged him off balance. And a beautiful finish. And the great thing about Stephen McDonald is, I think he's had the ball twice, possibly 3 times, 2 points.
Absolutely,
In that cauldron, like, where no one can move, like you couldn't swing a cat in it. You really can't move, and it's, I mean, really, and you can't see it on the television, but quite regularly we were looking back down the field, and players all over the field with their hands on their hips trying to breathe.
Oh, absolutely,
trying to get a breath.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Well, another thing that might have given Armagh a little bit of a breather is if Paul Earty had been picking the ball out of the net before the goal was actually scored, because he made a very good save, but there was a chance here.
That's right. Tyrone have created the 2 goal chances. They've got one, and you know, again a break off, and McGuigan, who hasn't again been in the game much, to Mellon.
Terrible effort, bad effort.
A goalkeeper like Paul, Paul Earty is a big goalie, so the only place to put the ball with him on the ground, we saw it come through his legs the last day, put it low. Now Mellon to me has struggled a bit in this game, he's just not up to it, and Meenan at midfield for Tyrone has struggled, but I think that McMahon at full back has done very well for Tyrone.
And he's got a great attitude.
The conclusion of this All-Ireland football semi-final battle coming up right after this commercial break. The champions and the challengers here next Sunday at Croke Park, the All-Ireland hurling final. Which way will it go? Will it be as intense as today's football? Half-time then in the All-Ireland football semi-final. Tyrone leading Armagh 1 goal and 4 points to 5 points. One of the things about the pace of this game is subs will obviously come into it. Tyrone don't seem to be as well catered for in that department, and McGinley's limping now as well.
Well, yeah, it's a real gripping struggle, and I would say that they'll spend as much time as they possibly can in there at half-time to draw breath and reorganise. There's no doubt about it, Armagh would appear to be stronger. They've more experienced subs, like they have brought on Tony McEntee, but the two McNultys and John McEntee are still there. There's loads of experience, whereas I suppose Tyrone have Peter to bring on at some stage. But they will hold him, I'm sure.
That's not necessarily where all the problems are for them.
No, they may struggle around the middle of the field for sheer size.
Yeah.
I mean, McGinley's a bad loss. I mean, he's struggling very badly.
Yeah,
he's been limping, and he wasn't able to make a charge at any stage of walking near him, and he sort of hobbled over to it, and he came into the game as an injury worry. And you saw against Dublin whenever a couple of men were introduced by Tyrone, Owen Bradley and boys like that. They're very, they have no real cover around that middle of the park position, particularly when Collie Holmes is injured. I mean, Tyrone are doing very well in some departments. Big Joe's terrific at full-back. He's got a great attitude, and he's all over Clark. Ryan McMenamin's just the right man for Stephen McDonald. You're never going to hold McDonald out of the game completely. They're doing well there. Conor Gormley's terrific at centre-half-back, and he's stamped his authority in the game. I mean, both defences are entirely on top. Tyrone's forward line looks as though it's got more potential, but again, looking as though you have more potential and proving it, they're the big mental questions for Tyrone, because they've been here twice before, leading at half-time, streaking away with 10 minutes to go, 4 or 5 points ahead, and still being reeled back in and losing the game. So that's the big question for Tyrone, is the mental question.
Armagh will be happy enough. They're 2 points behind. They were struggling in a good few areas. Even though they got to grips with the midfield situation, I thought that they should have been a bit closer. But the Tyrone backs are just fantastic at the moment. Even amidst all the tension, though, I thought there was one very light moment, when the referee asked Francie Bellew his name. You might as well be asking Ned Kelly, who was it? Asked Francie Bellew his name, the most notorious footballer in the country.
Oh, there's Peter Canavan coming out to see. It looks as though
there are, I think, a couple of changes on either team, but we'll find out a little bit more about that in just a moment. Kevin and Marty are back in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Michael. Welcome back here. And indeed, as you were just saying, there are a couple of changes. Peter Canavan is starting, so too is number 24 for Armagh, Tony McEntee, and John McEntee, number 23. And Peter Canavan is on for Enda McGinley. So Peter the Great, captain of the All-Ireland winning team of 2003, is starting more or less a corner forward, because Francie Bellew is still marking Owen Mulligan. And you can see 24, Tony McEntee is on in midfield. So the changes taking place. Big cheer as the public address here in Croke Park announced that Peter Canavan is starting the second half. Referee checking that his umpires are in position, and it's all to play for. 2 points between the teams. Who's going to play Kerry? It's been a very, very tense affair, the opening 37-38 minutes. Breaking ball picked up by Sean Kavanagh to Brian McGuigan. And just substitution there, John McEntee on for Brian Mallon. Confirmation. This is number 24, Tony McEntee. Over to the far over side, and I think Davy Hart will leave it over the sideline. Ball inside as Ryan Mallon, but he miscued it, and possession given away. Side down ball this time for Armagh. Kieran McKeever. They lose out. There's a chance here for Ryan Mallon. Owen Mulligan is this side. What's he going to do? Oh! He tried to hand pass it into the net, and Paul Hirty saves. But really, he should have done better here. Ryan Mallon cutting through. Mulligan had the time to gather here, but he pushed it, and Hirty did the very same thing, only he deflected it out for a 45.
Yeah, Mallon gave the pass too early, really, Marty. I know that sounds highly critical of me, but that is what happened. He didn't actually draw Francie Bellew to him. And when the ball comes across, the defender is too close. He has to make his mind up quickly and tries to paw it into the net, but Hirty is equal to it.
Second good save for Paul Hirty. As Peter Canavan takes this 45. First touch in this All-Ireland semi-final for the former captain. Puts this, here to did very well. Good hands, right under the crossbar. Lays it off as Andy Mallon. Paddy McKeever. In trouble is Paul McGrain, being fouled. Free for Armagh. Here McGeaney. Flicks it outside to McGrain. Long ball is aimed at Stevie McDonald. Ronan Clark will do fine. Joe McMahon was looking for a free. Referee said play on. Davy Hart. Brian Doohers, not a good pass for the captain. Nicely intercepted by John McEntee. It's 3 against 1 here, but the 1 is McDonald. And Stevie has it. Back outside for Paddy McKeever. Nice little jink. Back to McDonald again. And this time he sends it wide.
In the previous play was where the problem was. In fairness, Ronan Clark seemed to be fouled because Joe McMahon lost the flight of the ball. He just turned around and started charging into him. Referee didn't see it that way. Ended up with a McDonald chance you'd expect him to get, but he floated it wide.
Pascal McConnell's kick out. And it's just inside his own 65. Picked up by Mark O'Rourke. Fouled, however, by Brian Meenan. The Killyclough Club. Chance here of a point for Paul McGrain, but it's wide. He scored 3 points so far in the championship. The most important one was, of course, the day of the Ulster final draw when he got the equaliser.
Well, there's 2 that just slipped them by now, and the teams will be level. They'll be really annoyed about that down on the sideline. McGrain's effort, McDonald's effort, not difficult. Game should be level.
65,858 people here in Croke Park this afternoon, enjoying an intriguing contest. Tyrone once more. Philip Jordan from the Moy Club. Paddy McKeever chasing after him. The referee says there was a jersey pull, and it's a free in for Tyrone.
Paddy Russell just is not letting any of this doubling up or close harrying develop. He's getting in there immediately. I suppose you have to say he's dead right. He doesn't want it to boil over, so he's nipping it very quickly.
This is Owen Mulligan from Cookstown in County Tyrone. Just inside his 45, dropping it in. Once more, it's Francie doing well with that high dropping ball. Aaron Kernan gives it back to his captain, Phil McGeaney. To Bellew. McEntee. McGrain. Gone past his own 45. Here's Andy Mallon. Had a great run in the first half, but you ain't going nowhere in the second half, say the Tyrone boys. Brian Dooher. Sean Cavan. Named in Pete McGrath's international rules side, heading for Australia. Perhaps Kavanagh will be staying there with Brisbane because certainly there's a lot of media speculation in that area. He's fouled here. Going to be a free for Tyrone. And the game is very much, the second half, very much like the first in terms of it's very tense, very tight, very passionate. And I think everybody just a little bit fearful of making any mistakes. Stephen O'Neill drops this to the right and wide, giving a total of 5 wides in this game for Tyrone. But in fairness, he scored a goal and a point, Stephen O'Neill. Penalty and a free. Nothing from play. Joe McMahon's tussle with Ronan Clark has been very, very interesting. All-Ireland minor medalist back in 2005, a wing-back Joe McMahon. Breaking ball. Who's Brian McGuigan? Pick-up didn't come immediately. Aidan O'Rourke is 7 for Armagh. 3 for Tyrone, however. Brian McGuigan going to take it. Has scored 3 points in the championship campaign so far. Seeks out Canavan. Brought to ground by Andy Mallon. And that's going to be a free in for Peter Canavan.
Marty, just off camera, when McGuigan had the ball taking the free, Peter Callaghan made about 3 dummy runs and eventually lost his marker, Andy Mallon. Ball put in over him, and he kind of played for his free, you'd have to say, but he got it.
And he gets the point as well, because Stephen O'Neill has put this over. Tyrone 1-5, Armagh 5 points. Some of the substitutes warming up for Tyrone. One of them is Colin Holmes. Certainly seems to have, by reports, regained some of his form, just like Owen Mulligan at the right time. We'll see if he's going to be introduced as the game progresses. Fine catch by McGrain. Back outside, fires John McEntee. Crossfield ball didn't work because Ryan Mallon was back there, backpedaling. There's Davy Hart. First touch not great, second one much better. Brian Dooher gets by the challenge. Tries to get it in, tries Sean Kavanagh. And Brian McGuigan unable to reach it. Here's Martin O'Rourke. Ronan Clark wants it very quickly, doesn't get it. Gives it for Paddy McKeever. Backfires Martin O'Rourke once more. Great defending by Tyrone. 4, 5 players behind the ball at this moment in time, forcing Armagh back out into the midfield area. They try this direction. Carries Aaron Kernan, did well to gather. In front of him is Michael McGee. Still Aaron Kernan, getting inside the cover, going past the 20, into a scoring position, and it's gone wide. Well, he did everything right, in fairness to the 21-year-old from Crossmaglen. Just didn't finish. Confirmation that Colin Holmes is coming on, and Brian Meenan is the player that's making way. So a change at midfield for Tyrone.
Interesting that in the previous 2 matches, Tyrone got themselves into this type of position, Marty, you'll recall, but they weren't able to hammer it home. So it's a vital 10-15 minutes that's coming up for them now, seeking to push on.
It's their 9th championship match. Armagh's 8th. Paddy McKeever floating this one in, fires Paul McGrain, trying to find Ronan Clark. John McMahon got a touch to it. Rebound, however, falls to Tony McEntee. And the referee has blown his whistle, and he's given a 3 against Tyrone. And for Armagh, Oisin McConville is getting involved unnecessarily in all of this, because Armagh have won themselves a free.
We spoke about the referee insisting that 3, 4, 5 players can't be jumping around, even though technically they can as long as they don't foul. But Paddy Russell has been in very quick to stamp it out. It's a free. Tyrone not happy. I'd say Armagh delighted.
Chance for a point here for Oisin McConville. That's his second. Armagh's first point in this second half. Almost 9 minutes gone as Ryan McMenamin has a chat with Paddy Russell. I'm sure they were discussing the rules of the game.
Yeah, Ryan likes that sort of endeavour, likes to be in tight, likes to get the smell of his marker. But Paddy wasn't having any of it and gave the free in.
Pascal McConnell's kick out. 2 Tyrone players go up for it. Comes fast Paddy McKeever. McEntee twins now very much involved. This is John. Crossfield ball aimed over at Stevie McDonald with Ryan McMenamin onto the right boot. Floating like a butterfly. It's his 3rd point from play. 1 point between the teams now. 10 minutes into the second half. Lovely ball over towards McDonald from John McEntee, and this was a beauty all the way right over Pascal McConnell's crossbar.
Made by the pass, McEntee's pass, a lovely curl, lovely weight on it. There fell into McDonald, fell into his paws, hold a little dummy and a tap over. Brilliant pass.
Poor kick out by Pascal McConnell. Just seemed to slice off his boot. This is going to be a sideline ball for Kieran McGeeney. Just a little touch of mist descending on Croke Park at the moment. Ronan Clark receiving the pass from Oisin McConville. And Clark was fouled, and from the 13-metre line it's a free for Armagh. And a chance to level this game yet again. That would be the third time, if this goes over the bar, that the sides have been level. And once more, the onus of responsibility will fall on Oisin McConville. Coming at it from an acute angle. 2 goals and 16 points in the campaign so far. 29-year-old from Crossmaglen curls this inside the post and over the bar. Level for the third time after 47 minutes.
Well, I mentioned the gap that had opened up just a couple of minutes ago, and that was a crucial time for Tyrone, and look how good Armagh are at just taking an inch back from you at a time. They brought it back level again. Fantastic.
Fantastic atmosphere around Croke Park as well. Almost 66,000 people here enjoying this tense encounter. And I must say, so far played generally in a very sporting manner. Some descent next to 13 metres. McEntee finds O'Rourke. Ball comes free. There was obviously punch down on Martin O'Rourke by Michael McGee, and Tyrone are conceding quite an amount of frees at this moment in time.
But Marty, I'm absolutely convinced that free was in the opposite direction. I think you can see Michael McGee dispossess him, and he certainly is just making his way to the ball. Okay, there's still no free, he hasn't given it. Ball breaks loose here. Oh, look at there, he's taken out by number 10, the Armagh man, and he even gets a bang for his troubles.
Let's have a look at it again.
That's what he's given it
That's
for.
the pickup.
But I mean, he was fouled certainly just before that.
Michael McGee from Loughnacrory, All-Ireland minor medalist in 1998, so as indeed a cornerback, and twice an under-21 All-Ireland medalist under the guidance of this man along the sideline, Mickey Hart.
See Aaron Kernan, the kid dog, it's on his side. He's getting ready for what a booster this would be if he could swing it.
Well, he's yet to score in this semi-final. He scored 14 points in the championship campaign so far. On the last particular occasion he was here in Croke Park, scored twice from frees against Laois. Thought about a quick one. Martin O'Rourke still wanted it quick. Goes for a player in a slightly more central position, but Aidan O'Rourke is not like his younger brother Martin. Not great at scoring.
It was just a bad call by Aaron Kiernan, and maybe showing a bit of his experience. Nobody marking him. He had the ball in a stationary position. Threw it over to a guy not noted for that sort of distance shooting. Wide.
Just about 20 minutes left in this All-Ireland football semi-final. Kerry waiting in the background for one of these teams. Armagh, Ulster champions, having beaten Tyrone after a replay in controversial circumstances. Who's going to do it today? Sean Kavanagh has to go back far as Philip Jordan. Davy Hart is all alone in front of the Cusack stand. Conor Gormley spots it, running. His right corner back, Ryan McMenamin. Past the 45, approaching the 20. Doing a Brian Mallon in the first half by sending it over the bar. Wonderful score. He never played minor, never played under 21 for his county. He was born in Canada, but he's a Tyrone man to the bottom of his heart and soul. Look at this, for sheer utter passion and a fantastic point.
Yeah, and sometimes we give him a hard time, think that maybe there's only one facet to his game, but he's just shown us there what a good footballer he also is. Highly rated by a lot of the Ulster observers. Critical score for Tyrone, a really, really good one.
It's a phrase we use an awful lot, unfortunately, in the business, but that has been an inspirational score. Fabulous catch by Sean Kavanagh. The running provided by Davy Hart. Back to Kavanagh once more. Setting up O'Neill. Owen Mulligan goes a little bit to his left, but O'Neill sends it over the bar for his first point from play. Tyrone step up into fourth gear, perhaps.
But how true it is inspirational, because McMenamin now has lifted the whole team with that point. Kavanagh, who we haven't seen a whole lot, gets involved twice, catches, pops, takes it back, and then a great finish by O'Neill.
Tyrone led at half-time, 1-4 to 5, 2 points. Slowly Armagh got back into the game, level. Look at this for a crowd and an atmosphere. And now Tyrone have responded once more and have a 2-point advantage. 19 and a half minutes left in Croke Park. Breaking ball gathered by Brian Dooher. Some people thought they just might be a little bit tired after the replay against Dublin yesterday week. They look full of energy at the moment. Philip Jordan, O'Neill, floating this one in towards Peter Canavan. Getting away from Andy Mallon onto the right boot, and it's Canavan that sends it over the bar. 34-year-old since the 9th of April, captain of the All-Ireland in 2003. 3 Ulster Championship medals. He wants a 2nd All-Ireland. Just look at this, the maestro in motion, in slow motion. And the ball sails over Paul Hirty's crossbar.
He really knows how to pick his moments, does Mr. Canavan. You know, back in the team, the thing is on the boil and he scores it.
Breaking ball, picked up again. And ever since Ryan McMenamin went forward, Tyrone have stepped up into 4th, perhaps 5th gear. Well won this time, however, by left corner back Kieran McKeever. A little bit of pushing off the ball, Oisin McConville, Andy Mallon. And as always, Armagh, I'm sure, will respond slowly, methodically. They won't lose their focus. Chance here for John McEntee. That is sent over the bar. Well, it was tense, very tense in the first half with little or no scores. And I don't think anybody can complain about the last 5 minutes or so. And Armagh do respond. John McEntee sailing this one over.
And you know, we're so used to seeing these that we think they're kind of running the middle point. That's a kid dog on his wrong side, at distance, under severe pressure, now that the game is going slightly away from him. And he swings that over same as he's at practice.
Breaking ball again, picked up this time by Tony McEntee. McEntee twins won 3 All-Ireland club medals with Crossmaglen, with Joe Kernan. Won an All-Ireland medal in 2002 with Joe Kernan. Stevie McDonald seemed to have been fouling Conor Gormley. Comes far as Ronan Clark. Referee doesn't blow the whistle. Clark not allowed to go forward by Joe McMahon. And this time the referee gives the free against Joe McMahon. And he wants the fullback to turn around and give his number. But I have to say that I felt that Conor Gormley was fouled before that.
Yeah, Stevie McDonald was the man that fouled him, and it'd be interesting. In fact, I think the referee is bringing it in for dissent straight in front of the goal. He is indeed. It'd be very interesting to see. Look,
Aaron Kernan just thought about a goal, perhaps. And there's his first point in this All-Ireland semi-final. I'm sorry, Kevin, I know you were in full flow.
There's so much happening. I didn't spot Kernan. I think he was going for the goal, was he?
Yeah, I think he was, actually. Tyrone won 8, Armagh 10 points. 1 point between the teams. 54, almost 55 minutes played. 15 minutes left. Mickey Hart looking intense. Is there a move somewhere there that he can orchestrate to swing this their way? Breaking ball picked up by Paddy McKeever. Here's Oisin McConville, fouled by Michael McGee. Going to be a free for the Crossmaglen man. Referee now giving a public warning.
He must be giving it to Philip Jordan.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Because Michael McGee has already got one.
This free going to be taken by John McEntee. Crossfield ball, look at that. Peach of a ball. Over fires Aaron Kernan. Aidan O'Rourke was providing an overlap. Brian Dooher loose possession. Back to O'Rourke once more. Giving it in for his Ronan Clark. Options available to his right. Stevie McDonald knows already that it's gone wide. They're looking for the equaliser as Armagh registered their 10th wide of the game.
Well, of course, Armagh now are really coming to a conclusion of their second comeback in this match. the way they've come back each time is a credit to them, a huge example to any team that wants to be a real champion team. That you just keep going, you keep your routine going, you don't panic, you keep your shape and you keep plugging. And really, isn't that what Armagh are all about?
They have a spirit that seems unquenchable. Ashley McConnell. Ronan Clark aims for the sky, or points to the sky. He wants it in long and high. There's a chance here for McDonald, getting inside the cover, and it's gone wide again. Wide number 11 for Armagh. They're finding it difficult to get that equaliser.
Well, this was a chance, wasn't it? Look at how quickly Kieran spotted him. A lovely pass. He turns around, he has the goal chance, but I think he is going for the point. Slices it to the right and wide.
Seeking an equaliser for the 4th time.
A marksman like that, it will be so annoyed, Marky, because that's his bread and butter stuff. He's made his name on that. Should have really scored it.
He's already scored 3 times. McConnell's kick out. Comes for Sean Kavanagh. Fouled by Paddy McKeever. Colin Holmes. Brian McGuigan. Looks up and seeks Owen Mulligan. Davy Hart is coming on the outside. This is Hart. And Francie arrived on the 46A from Crossmaglen. Just a little bit late.
Well, here's a question for you, Marty, and we don't want to be getting on Francie's case. But that foul is against him, correct? He's on a yellow card.
And the referees will say to you, Kevin, that it may not have been a bookable offence. Because now you can do yellow-black rather than just black-yellow. Anyway, here we go. Stephen O'Neill. This going over the bar. A goal and 4 points for the marksman from Clonagale. But it's a valid point that you were making about Francie, I have to say, Kevin.
He's on the edge, he's on the line, and he has to be so careful. He'd be a huge loss to Armagh because he's doing very well for them.
Tyrone 1-9. Armagh 10 points. 2 points between the teams. Paddy McKeever wins possession and wins a free. Again, they're aiming for Clark and McDonald. McDonald has got inside the cover. Pascal McConnell is out, and it's a goal.
What a finish!
Just the simplest of touches. McDonald, magic McDonald from Kalibi. How did he manage to squeeze it in? It must have been absolutely centimetres.
And he's done it with his right foot. We'll see it, Marty, here in the replay. He's actually done it with his right foot, I do believe. What a catch! What a move around him. He's been fouled. Well, it's actually as if he curls it around. What a finish!
Just managed to squeeze it inside the post, and now Armagh lead by a point. Oh.
Brilliant.
Now Tyrone, after responding, seek the equaliser for the 4th time, and they go forward in numbers. The block down is by Paul McGrain. Goes to return and just stumbles. Sideline ball for Tyrone.
What a
scoreboard. An intriguing contest. It really has been pulsating here. Stephen O'Neill, front of the Cusick stand, 20-metre line, going for the point. Cuts it across. Sean Kavanagh gathers it ahead of McEntee. Tony. And the referee blows his whistle. Armagh players are furious, and they're telling Francie Bellew to go away, and particularly Aaron Kernan. He may be only 21, but I think it's an old head on young shoulders. Yeah, well, Francie shouldn't be arguing.
What's happened there is that Sean Kavanagh was definitely fouled on the very first ball. Paddy Russell was in a bad position. Thought he should have been, but he didn't give it. Now he has.
Owen Mulligan to equalise. It's a simple tap over. It's his second from a free. Level for the 4th time after 60.5 minutes in this All-Ireland semi-final. This was a long ball into McDonald. Just look at the artistry of one of the great corner forwards. How he managed to get this in. Literally. Oh, it was so close.
Half a Tyrone lying on top of him, and he can still get out the left foot to poke it inside, just inside the goal post for the goal.
9 minutes left. Kernan, giving it to Paddy McKeever. McDonald to McKeever once more. Nobody in around the square. McDonald, 3, 4 Tyrone players around him. Puts the ball down on the ground. It's there for Tyrone, and the referee has given a free to Armagh. And for some dissent, there's another couple of metres gained by Armagh. Tyrone are becoming a little bit frustrated with the referee's decision making.
Yeah, a big part of the Tyrone defensive strategy is this hunting in packs and tackling in 2s and 3s and 4s, which is within the rules so long as you are not pushing a guy down or fouling him on the ball. Paddy in that instance says that is a foul. Descent 13 metres more advantageous.
Here's Aaron Kernan going for his second point. Hits it sweetly over the bar. Armagh go back in front. Armagh are making a change. They're taking off their captain, Kieran McGeeney, and coming on is Enda McNulty. And perhaps the switch that was made last outing here against Laois may see Aidan O'Rourke go to centre half back. So Kieran McGeeney, remember he had that slight hamstring for the game against Laois, and he's having a word with Joe Kernan. I think Kieran, judging by that, is just questioning why he was taken off, perhaps. Kick out by Pascal McConnell. Gathered superbly by Tony McEntee. Tyrone now need the possession. This is John McEntee laying it off for Aaron Kernan, opting for the long ball into the space. Pascal McConnell comes off his line, then decides to go back. Michael McGee did well to stay inside. Now the umpire has raised his arm and he's giving a 45, or perhaps the referee is overruling that. He's actually giving a free to McGee. Conor Gormley can afford a little smile. Pascal McConnell to Joe McMahon, to Brian Dooher. Ulster champions leading by a point. Davy Hart just took his eye off it. Here come Armagh. Chance of another point. Hit on the beat, over the bar by Ronan Clark for his first point in this All-Ireland semi-final. But that was an early Christmas present from Tyrone.
Yeah, silly turnover. But they're turning the screw a small bit. Just come back to your last little comment on McGeeney, Marty. See him running back onto the field again to give some more instructions. That's what he was doing with Joe, giving him whatever information he could to get the game balanced and so on. McGeeney is there for the long haul, you can be sure of it.
Chris Lawn is coming on for left half back Philip Jordan. So Chris Lawn goes in to mark Ronan Clark, and Joe McMahon is coming out to the half back line. And of course you may recall that Chris Lawn had a fabulous game on Ronan Clark the last time they clashed. Here's Sean Kavanagh. Can he put this over the bar? Yes, he can. For his second point in this semi-final. 64 minutes and 41 seconds played. 1 point between the teams. Here's Kavanagh going through, hitting it absolutely perfectly over the bar. Interesting to see that Kieran McGeeney hasn't gone to the substitute bench. He's up and down with Joe Kernan, urging his players on. In the shadow of Mickey Hart. The kick out by Paul Hirtig. Comes far as Andy Mallon. Flicking it into the centre far as Tony McEntee. Stevie McDonald. Support play provided by John McEntee. He scored a point over there earlier. Oisin McConville taking a couple of hits, 2, 3. But over carries, free to Tyrone, inside their own 45. Look at that scoreboard on the top of your television screen, left-hand corner. 112, 111.
And play is beginning to open up, Marty, so it will all be about energy levels, I do believe.
Absolutely. Brian Dooher. Colin Holmes picks it up, lays it off. Can they create a move that will provide a score? The long ball is aimed at Owen Mulligan. Gets there inside, back to Canavan, point on its way, and it's gone wide. Peter the Great is fallible after all.
Well, watch Bellew here. Doesn't give it up. Has to come out and put a small bit of heat on him, and it's gone wide.
And it wasn't very far away. Wayne Sweeney is coming on for Davy Hart. And I think Davy must be a little bit tired because he's had a fabulous championship season, but the last Christmas present was from Davy.
Tiredness.
Oh, great catch by Sean Kavanagh. 4 Armagh players around him. Goes forward. It's still there. It's a scramble. Trying to get it back. There's Canavan. Doesn't go there. Comes past Brian McGuigan. Brian Dooher has gone inside. The pass is not a good one. Old Mulligan says to his captain, it's okay, I have it. Here's O'Neill. Can he curl this one in? And it's gone wide again for Tyrone's 7th wide of the match. And down on the ground is Aidan O'Rourke. All-star footballer 2002 from the famous O'Rourke family. There's been Cahill, there's been Martin, there's been Aidan, and they've all represented Drummondtee and Armagh with great passion. Joe Kernan, he's 1 point to the good. Can he hold on?
And isn't it just a high-stakes poker game?
Kieran McGeeney. Unusual for a substitute not to go to the bench. He's there urging his players on. Breaking ball, fires Paddy McKeever, flicking it outside. Oisin McConville, 2 Armagh players available. One of them is Aaron Kernan, front of the Hogan stand. Brian Dooher, back outside fires McKeever, flicking it inside fires Tony John McEntee it is. Ball given away. Here comes the response from Tyrone. Ryan McMenamin laying it off as Kavanagh. Tries to get by. Tony McEntee succeeds. He's on the 65, approaching the 45. Has to kick it now. Into Owen Mulligan. Battling with Owen Mulligan and Francie Bellew. Back to Peter Canavan. Sneaks it through. Chance of a point in front of the post. And it's over the bar. Shane Sweeney, centre back for most of the championship, cornerback against Dublin, comes forward as a substitute. Is he the hero? Incredible.
It's the fast hands here. A fantastic take by O'Neill. Gets it back to Canavan, who dishes it immediately to Sweeney to open up the gap.
68 minutes, almost 69. The word on the 7th floor of the Hogan stand, if this ends level, it's heading to a replay next Saturday. Kick out by Paul Hearty. Possession now, absolutely crucial. Here's Aaron Kernan. Who has the gumption? Who has the character? Blocked out, superb by Dooher. Joe McMahon lays it off as Brian McGuigan. Are they to meet for the 4th time in this championship? The championship of 2005. McGuigan, look at the running. Great running by McGuigan. Lays it off outside. Sweeney drops this in, but it's a giveaway to Francie Bellew. 30 seconds left in Croke Park. Aidan O'Rourke. It depends, of course, on how much is going to be added on by the referee from Tipperary. McEntee. Martin O'Rourke is available. Are both sides just happy to play it out and start the process once more? Tony McEntee lays it into the space of Ronan Clark. Colin Holmes chasing it. Holmes trying to stay goal side. Clark, is he the man to bring Armagh to the All-Ireland final? Flicking into fantastic covering by Michael McGee, and the free out is Tyrone. We're into injury time in Croke Park. It's Armagh 112, Tyrone 112. Substitution coming on. Aidan O'Rourke is the player that's going to make way for Andrew McCann. So a change in the half-back line. These two great counties, they are so even. Backfires Pascal McConnell. 70 and a half minutes played. 2 minutes of additional time. Well, I can promise you one thing, there's nobody leaving Croke Park. The breaking ball favours Colin Holmes. He's approaching the 45. Stephen O'Neill is to his left. Holmes has to give it back to Ryan McMenamin. Scored a great point from the far over side. This is Stephen O'Neill. McMenamin has gone inside. Still O'Neill does so well. The referee claims that he was pulled, and he was, and it's a free in for Tyrone.
Who's going to take this one? Is it O'Neill? Hardly now with the left foot, Marty, as Canavan is up on his feet. He'll want it. Here's Mulligan.
It's going to be Owen Mulligan. Kieran McGeeney looks on. Who's going to take this? It looks like it could well be Peter Canavan. And he's leaving it.
Not lovely.
the student is leaving it to the teacher, I think, here.
I think we're playing this student one a long time. He must have left school by now, Marty.
This is it. And Paddy Russell had a quiet word with Peter Canavan. Is this the free and the point to put Tyrone in the All-Ireland final? Canavan regrets. 72 minutes played. Is there time left in Croke Park for Armagh to come back? Stephen O'Neill was trying to delay Paul Hirty taking the kick out, and Francie Bellew is pushing him away. Paul Hirty with the kick out. It's all up to the referee now. It's a long kick out. It's over. The captain of 2003 is the match winner. Peter Canavan has done it for his county. In their 9th championship match, they make amends. They beat Armagh after losing the Ulster final. Draw on replay. It's Tyrone against Kerry in the All-Ireland football final. Such drama, such heart, such passion. Mickey Hart has guided them back. Owen Mulligan has discovered his form. And certainly, it is a wonderful day for Tyrone. Sean Kavanagh can barely hold back the tears. This is the sweetest victory of them all. It looked like we were heading for a replay here in Croke Park next Saturday, and then up stepped Peter Canavan to break Joe Kernan's heart. He was at least in with a chance within seconds of a replay. Stephen O'Neill and Brian Dooher, they've come the long way. It's been a journey that'll be talked about for a long time, and many people admire Tyrone for that heart and for that belief that have brought them back to Croke Park for their 10th championship match, as Paddy McKeever heads to the dressing room under the Hogan stand, devastated. But for Tyrone, it may be only an All-Ireland semi-final, but I think even the bonfires might blaze around Armagh tonight.
What a call by Canavan, Marty. Wasn't it really ballsy? Took the ball off Mulligan, the younger man. Has the cool head, said, I'll have a shot at this one.
It was a lovely cameo performance by Canavan, and it was a lovely little sequence that the former student allowed his teacher to take the free that guided his county to an All-Ireland final. Full-time score in Croke Park. Tyrone 1 goal and 13 points. Armagh 1 goal and 12.
And I thought Kavanagh, when he was needed in the last 10 minutes, really...
Well, he went in that one surge, but they were wiped out in the middle of the field, Claude. Yeah, but he wiped out. I would have gone
yeah,
for...
there's some great buzzes you can hear in the background. Joe and Colin O'Rourke here debating that, and rightly so. I've seen a lot of football matches here at Croke Park. I've never seen one more intense than that, let's put it that way.
This is one of the great games of Gaelic football. You know, people complain about Ulster football. I've often complained about it myself, but if we had a game like that every Sunday, you'd pack Croke Park out. It had everything in Gaelic football. It was a sort of an Ali Frazier thing. It was the survival of the fittest there in the end. It was really, really a brilliant game, a brilliant occasion, and maybe a pity it wasn't a draw.
Well, I know, I mean, it's the great cliche, you hate to see a team losing, but that was very much the case today. I mean, I know they've gone out of their third game this year. I think we would have taken a fourth between Armagh and Tyrone.
Yeah, and it looked as though we would, and you know, in the old days the referee would have blown it up, but, I mean, two great teams, you know, and you must pay tribute to Armagh. A great, great side. And, you know, a really, really epic game where, you know, just what I was saying beforehand, that's the day where you see what the man is made of.
Yeah.
You know, and you're laid bare, and isn't that what great sport is at the end of the day? To see human beings pushing themselves to the limit and seeing what's inside there, you know.
And you can see from the crowd and the field and the celebrations down there that the people who paid in here today, they appreciate that.
Yes, and on one side, I suppose, again, what sport is about the joy and the ecstasy of winning, and the fact that Armagh will go home totally shattered from this, because, you know, with 5 minutes to go, you'd say they're in the final. Armagh in position, 2 points up, you say, this is Armagh's day. They shut out all these games, And what an effort by Tyrone to come back and score 3 points to win the match.
And the key to it all, Tyrone's ball retention and pace, even in the 70th minute, pouring forward options everywhere. I mean, there was no time in the game where there weren't options for Tyrone. And in spite of all Armagh's solidity and excellence and the things that they do well, the basic principles, still Tyrone were able to cling on. And I mean, it was a magnificent effort.
We've been looking at heroes all over the Tyrone team, and indeed the Armagh team here today. And one of those guys for Tyrone that really played well today, Ryan McMenamin, cornerback. He's down talking to Darrell.
Ryan, what a game, what a victory for you.
Yeah, very good game for us. Bit nerve-wracking for our fans, bit nerve-wracking for yourself, as he says earlier on there. But it's a some game. I'm just exhausted here at the minute. We expected that sort of game to come out of Armagh. The Ulster champions, they beat us twice already this year, and we knew we were going to have to pull out all the stops, but I think we're going to need a lot more when we meet Kerry and their southern style of play, as Jack says.
What was it like playing him? Because to watch it, it was excruciating. The tension was something else.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was end-to-end stuff, point for point, and it was what the two sides have been capable all year, and we played it, and it was tough to play in because I think we scored 3 in a row there, and then they came back and they scored 3, and then they went 2 ahead, 2-1 ahead, and then we came back again, and then Peter got the free at the end, and it was just Grover Dickers kicking me here. So better let him speak. I think he wants to speak.
Absolutely. Just bring Brian in. Brian, how do you put that into words?
It's just good to be back on the Ireland final again. We come here today just to get through, hopefully to get a chance to meet Kerry, and thankfully we've done that part of it, but I know we're going to have to do a lot more before we're able to compete in the field with Kerry after their performance against Cork last week.
You're talking Kerry up already. It was one of the great games of Gaelic football, though. It had absolutely everything.
It was definitely a good game. It was played in a good spirit, and probably a draw, maybe a fair result to end up. We're just glad to sneak it, saying the last 2 times we come out maybe on the wrong side of it, but we're just glad to be there, and we've a long way to go yet.
A number of really big moments. Ryan McMenamin's point was special. It started you on a 3-in-a-row roll. Armagh pegged you back. The Stevie McDonald goal. Shane Sweeney's point, and then Peter at the end. So many things to talk about.
Aye, definitely. There was 15 men in the field, and all the men that came on, they done their job today, and they've done a lot of hard work, and they're just dead on their feet to end up. They done enough to get through, and Shane Sweeney came on. He wouldn't be renowned for kicking points, but he did. Thankfully he did.
He's a hero today. We have a traffic jam here. Sean Kavanagh's here. I'm going to bring Sean in as well. Lads, thank you so much for your time. Sean, we're trying to get the lads to put that into words. A real emotion on your face and in your eyes when the full-time whistle went. What do you feel?
Yeah, certainly. It brings 2003 all back. To be honest, it's probably even better in 2003. It's not often that you can beat that team in 1 year and also find with maybe so much hard luck and all, but to come back in the same season and beat them the last 10 minutes when Armagh thought they had all the character. I think the last 10 minutes we showed we have character ourselves.
It had replay written all over it for a long time.
Yeah, I think it brought us back to the first Ulster final, but I say fair play to the lads with 2-3 minutes left. We dug in, we fought hard. Mickey had us well reared up at half time that the last 10 minutes was ours. Whenever the goal went in, I still thought Tyrone could do it, and it showed now we dug deep and got the result we needed.
But the self-belief within the group from your manager, the selectors, it's something else.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think everyone before the game was talking about Armagh's character and their ability to kill off games and whatnot. I think we've learned an awful lot from the Ulster final replay. It's made us a stronger team, and as I said now, even whenever Steve McDonald got that goal, I thought Tyrone could do it, and that's exactly what we've done. It's an unbelievable experience.
Could you, I know when you're playing in it, you're away from, you're detached from a lot of things, the noise in the ground, the atmosphere was incredible, but could you feel the tension?
Yeah, certainly. Now, as I say now, whenever we got a level near the end, you could see everyone on the feet and nobody could watch. I don't think it is hard enough for me to watch myself now, but as I say now, I think the Ulster final replay on the first match stood us in good stead, and even the Dublin match with the crowd and whatnot. So we're well used to them circumstances, and we'll come through in the end.
Sean, well done. I'm going to bring your manager in now, if I may.
Thank you.
Nicky Hart. Thanks, Sean. Thank you very much. An oasis of calm you were on the sideline. Outwardly, what were you like inside?
No, it certainly was turmoil inside. It was one of those games that was going to go to the wire. We have total respect for Armagh. They really, did not give up. In fact, it looked like when they got that goal, we could have been gone. And Armagh are the team that wear you down, and they have done that for years. And I have to give them total respect for that and total credit for it. The other unfortunate thing about this is there's no cups handed out today, and there's a lot of celebration out there. And of course, people celebrate getting to a final. But, there's no cup lifted today. We're just in the final. Kerry's sitting there as well. We have to keep our feet firmly on the ground. Enjoy the moment. but know that there's a lot of work to be done if we want to lift the cup.
But you can understand it as well, the way you did it, who you've beaten, your great rivals, and as you say, you have so much respect for Joe and his players. But to do that at the end, there was a lovely cameo with Owen Mulligan and with Peter over there, who'd take the free. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts were, if anybody needed to take a pressure kick, then Peter Cannon was the man to do it. He's done it many times in his career. He's done it for me in club football with Eric Gilkieran. We needed such a point to get a draw in the Ulster Club Championship, and he was the man to do it, and thank God for people like Peter Cannon.
Were you looking at your diary towards the end? Have I any plans for next Saturday? It looked like a replay.
Well, I'd say after Stephen McDonald got the goal, we'd have been very happy to take a replay once again, but we've had a long, hot summer, and maybe we deserve these couple of weeks off now, or at least not weeks off, but weeks to prepare for the All-Ireland final.
Well, it'll be a lovely to be involved in the build-up to that, and thank you for today, Mickey Hart. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank God for Peter Canavan, thank God for God. I'm sure they're saying all
still
over
my best
Tyrone
lines.
today. Okay, we're going to take a short break here in the programme. Back after that with further analysis on this All-Ireland football semi-final. Stay with us for that. Down on the field is the public address announcer here at Croke Park. Joe has been telling the Tyrone people that the Tyrone team will not be coming back out onto the field again, because obviously they're anxious to congratulate their heroes. Well, it's been a difficult day today for Joe Kernan, the Armagh manager. Armagh played so very, very well. With just the last kick of the game, I suppose, almost the last kick, they are out of this year's championship. Joe's talking to Darren Maloney right now.
Joe, it's very difficult to know what to say to you. It was one of the great games of Gaelic football, and you come out on the wrong side of it.
That's very disappointing. You know, we give everything we had. You know, two of the best teams in the country for 72 minutes. They're non-stop, end-to-end stuff. For a while near the end, we thought we had it, and then we give the ball away a few times, and Tyrone come up and punished us, and then I suppose the free kick at the end was a killer. I would have liked to be back next Saturday, but not to be.
We could be here till tomorrow week talking about all the moments. There were so many big moments in that game. Stephen McDonald's goal felt like a huge thing for your team. It was a big turnaround. I think you were a point behind, went 2 ahead with that.
Yeah, well, a goal was always going to be important that match, and we thought the important thing was to win the ball again and get another score, which we didn't do. Whereas Tyrone came down the field and got a point straight away, which sort of put a bit of a dent in that. But it was just such end-to-end stuff. But the one thing I can tell you, those Armagh players owe nobody nothing. Nobody nothing.
You're really disappointed not to be going one step further, but when you look at the year, to lose a game, I know, in that fashion hurts, but you were so close to the thing.
Yeah, well, we've had a great year so far, you know. I mean, in Ulster, National League, and in All-Ireland semi-final. But you know, it's no good if you don't win these things. And all the boys are good in there. They couldn't give any more. There's nothing left in them, you know. But that's typical of the men that we have.
We were saying to some of the Tyrone lads who were here, it had replay written all over it. I think you were level for the 3rd time after 47 minutes, and it just kind of went one way then the other. Nobody could get clear.
Well, the closeness of the two teams has been the same way all year. In the 3 games it was the same way. You know, obviously Tyrone learned from the last day. We had our chances near the end. On a normal days we would finish somebody off, but we give the ball away a few times there. But that's, you get the rub of the green some days, and we didn't get it today. And well, fair play to Tyrone. You know, they'll give it a good crack now, and we'll just have to sit and watch.
Yeah. A big moment at the end as well when you had to take Kieran McGeeney off. Was he injured, or you just wanted to try something different at centre-back?
No, well, he wasn't injured, definitely not injured. We wanted to maybe just have that wee bit more pace out to the half-back lane. In fairness, Kieran didn't do anything wrong. We just thought that we'd put on Andy, because Andy's pace has been a great help to us to most of the match. But it's one of them wee things, you know, that wasn't the decision that lost the match. It was we give the ball away and we didn't take the couple of chances we got. And at the end of the day, we're at it all in, and it's disappointing, but chin up, and you know, but these players will be back.
Well, you've a lot to be proud about, Joe. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Yeah, those players, I have no doubt, will be back, because they did nothing wrong today, I suppose, except lost the match by a point. And so then it's Kerry and Tyrone into the All-Ireland final. I'm sure that Joe Kernan thought there when Stephen McDonald got the goal in the second half that might just be the little clink in it that was going to seal it for them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the pillars of Armagh football was Stephen McDonald, you know, and the certainty that when he's presented, you know, in the tightest situation, you know, in the most frantic atmosphere with the chance that he'd take it. And generally speaking, when Stephen McDonald does that, Armagh go on to win games. When Stephen McDonald scores goals like that, particularly at that stage, you know, and in fairness to Tyrone's mental strength today, you know, people were saying Tyrone needed to be 6 or 7 points ahead to win it. He did terribly well to take it, and he had no room to finish it. But that's just, you know, that's strength of character. You know, he's got all the skill and he's got everything else, but to do that the way that he did it was strength of character. You know, and he was starved of possession today. Yeah. He only had the ball about 5 times and scored a goal in 3 points.
Yeah.
It was one of those goals, it was a brilliant goal. It may not look to the ordinary onlooker, somebody flashing in a shot, with rifle in. He had to do everything. He had to get around two men, as it turned out. He had nothing to shoot at, and he still steered it home.
Armagh got control of the match at that stage, on the scoreboard as well as around the field of play. But interestingly, it was Tyrone that came on then, and Peter Canavan, they brought him on as a sub. You can talk so much about it, but he scored a point from play that was just like tonic for the troop stuff.
Absolutely. He was the inspiration, actually, came down, because they were looking for him and getting the ball to him. Like, Armagh had come from 3 down and went 2 up, and you think they'd shut out the game. Yeah. But in a great period when Tyrone actually had gone 3 up, that's a brilliant ball across from Stephen O'Neill.
And he's
gets
so
in front of Andy Mallon, shimmies, goes onto his right foot. The umpire was going for the flag.
Yeah. He inspires confidence. He came into the ball aggressively. He did it just right. Funny enough, he missed an even easier one from Owen Mulligan a few minutes later. But that score was really important because it was the third of a sequence of 3 points from play, from 3 kickouts, 3 breaking balls in a row. And Tyrone didn't win many breaking balls today. Ryan McMenamin scored a great point, surged up the length of the field. And then O'Neill scored a point from play. Canavan scored a point from play. And all of a sudden you could see Tyrone's tails up.
Yeah, but you were making the point to us during the match that for once Tyrone found themselves going behind in the game, and it kind of took off the shackles and the pressure of being ahead in the game. So they kind of just went at it. They were so cool when they got the free at the end.
I was making the point to Colm, with about 5 minutes to go. Tyrone are in a better position now. They're a point or two behind. There's no nerves. They can go for it. Normally, in the last 2 games they'd been ahead, and then they'd been waiting for the Armagh onslaught, and they had frozen. But here they just went at it. And Tyrone are so difficult to deal with whenever they're charging forward into space and weaving in and out. And it'll be such a vast boost to their confidence, because...
calm. You could panic here easily because, the game was going for a draw.
Kieran McKeever has a hold of his arm, pulling O'Neill back. There was a silly free to give away. Paddy Russell gives a free.
Owen is saying, well, I don't mind, I'll take it. But
no, he was.
Peter says, hey,
well,
leave it to me.
Mulligan played well today. Now he can play a lot better, but he made a valuable contribution today in difficult circumstances, and that's really as much as you can do against a team like
Paddy Russell has just told him this is basically it.
That's it. He's given him.
So he can score this.
That's the right person. You want somebody with a cool head. I'm sure Peter was on fire inside.
Right over the black spot.
Like Bjorn Borg in the old days in the tennis. Ice cool. Just put the ball down, could see nothing but the goals. It's as if he kicked 1,000 of those points before, and it was just a matter of doing the same routine again.
Just a matter of doing it to get you into the All-Ireland final. More on this All-Ireland football semi-final, indeed. A look ahead to the final itself straight after the break. For the 2005 All-Ireland football final on September the 25th, and it is, of course, Kerry versus Tyrone. What a battle that's going to be, lads.
Well, it was a privilege to be here today for such a great and sporting contest, I think we should say. And I suppose to a lot of people, this is the ideal final, and that's not no insult to Armagh, who are just a fantastic team. And we should be thankful for their style of play in a lot of respects, because they have opened up new avenues of thinking within the GAA. So we should be thankful. But Kerry and Tyrone are similar. They have great speed and great pace all over the field. I've always gone for Kerry. I'm not going to change now.
Joe?
Yeah, well, that's been a vast boost to Tyrone's confidence today. To finally slay the monster. Kerry have experienced nothing like this. They've slipped through the championship, beating Tipperary, Limerick, Mayo, Cork. That's 3 games Tyrone have had of the very highest quality, with every part of their team tested and every man tested. That is definitely an advantage for Tyrone. The other thing that struck me watching Kerry against Cork is that Kerry have a very similar style of play to Tyrone, and it's all about pace and breaking forward with the ball. The difference between the last time Kerry and Tyrone played in the All-Ireland semi-final is that Kerry's defence is much meaner now. The full back line's terrific, their half back line's terrific, and what you've learned from Armagh, Tyrone and Kerry is that the basis for good football is defence.
OK, lads, well, it's been another big day here at Croke Park today, but the major championship action continues unabated. Next weekend, the attention turns, of course, to hurling and the blue ribbon event of the year, the battle for the Liam McCarthy Cup. Yeah, huge weekend next weekend, and you can enjoy every minute of it. Hurling's big day here on RTE television, beginning with the minor final, that between Galway and Limerick. And that's all for next weekend. By the way, I have no tickets left, folks. Now, still to come on this particular Sunday, our nighttime edition, I should say, of the Sunday game. Further analysis and coverage of today's All-Ireland football semi-final, 9:30 here on this channel. Joe Brolly and Colin O'Rourke have been here with me for the afternoon. My thanks to them. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, bye-bye.
Today, Kerry found out who their opponents are for this year's All-Ireland football final. Armagh were hoping to maintain their 15-game unbeaten record when they faced Tyrone for that coveted All-Ireland final spot. The curtain raiser in Croke Park was the Tommy Murphy Cup final between Tipperary and Wexford. We offer you another chance to vote for your favourite moments from August in this year's championships. And after a record 23 years in charge, Sean Boylan stepped down as meet manager during the week. We'll be hearing from the man himself later in the programme. Good evening and welcome. We'll also reveal today's Man of the Match awards, and we'll look ahead to the All-Ireland football final and the International Rules Series. If you'd like to contact us, just text the word GAME followed by your comment to 53555 or email us at thesundaygame@rte.ie. I'll be talking to Tony Davis, John O'Mahony and Anthony Tohal a little later on. But first, we'll take a look back at today's All-Ireland football semi-final between Armagh and Tyrone with Marty Morrissey and Kevin McStay.
This is the Armagh side. Armagh manager Joe Kernan redesigns his team with both expected and unexpected changes. Nobody will be surprised to see Kieran McGeeney return to centre-back, but there might be a few raised eyebrows that Enda McNulty finds himself sitting the start of this one in the Hogan stand. Definitely unexpected was the selection of Paddy McKeever at number 11. But perhaps the deciding factor in this All-Ireland football semi-final could turn out to be the performance of number 3, Francie Bellew. Remember the Ulster final replay? Well, Francie hasn't forgotten, so I'm sure the fullback from Crossmaglen is eagerly looking forward to meeting Stephen O'Neill yet again. But Armagh don't have exclusivity on changes. Interestingly, Tyrone manager Mickey Hart selects Joe McMahon at fullback, taking a close look at centre field. Killy Clogher's Brian Meenan starts his very first championship match here in Croke Park in an All-Ireland semi-final. Cast your eyes to the attack, and there's no space available for a young man called Peter Canavan. The onus of responsibility in the midfield region may fall on the young shoulders of Sean Kavanagh. The 22-year-old from Moy has been a prominent force, and his value as a worker as well as a scorer cannot be underestimated. It's a very large crowd here in Croke Park. They're expecting around 70,000. It's a repeat of the All-Ireland final of 2003. Paddy Russell from County Tipperary is the match referee. Refereed the All-Ireland finals of 1990 and 1995. Who's going to play Kerry the end of September? Tyrone or Armagh? The repeat of the Ulster final. Draw and replay. Controversial ending. That was the old story. The new story begins today, and it's Armagh with the ball just inside their own half of the field. Martin O'Rourke giving it back to Kieran McGeeney. How will he cope with Brian McGuigan this afternoon? Paddy McKeever selected at centre half forward. Good interception. Joe McMahon lays it off to his captain Brian Dooher. Back to McMahon once more. He's earned his spurs being a substitute and coming on. Now he starts this afternoon. Sean Kavanagh brought to ground. Comes back to the Tyrone captain Brian Dooher. We have the first free. That's going to Tyrone. Brian Dooher. McGeeney. Breaking ball favours Brian McGuigan. Onto the pad of Ryan Mullen. Oh! Hirty saves magnificently. And Francie Bellew takes the rebound away. Out of the danger zone. Far as Paul McGrain. Opts for the long ball. Down first Martin O'Rourke. Got a knock accidentally, I would imagine, from Conor Gormley. But Martin O'Rourke has gone down and Paddy Russell has blown his whistle.
It was high.
He's going to give a free to Armagh. It's only a warning for Michael McGee, actually, that seems to be the guilty party. Back out tries Martin O'Rourke. Calling from this is brother Aidan O'Rourke. Opts instead for Brian Mallon, who's very energetic, very vibrant in the opening couple of minutes. Down tries Ronan Clark. loses possession, loose ball, just getting a toe to it. Comes back out. There's Brian Dooher once more, who's gone from right wing to left wing. And they're both defensive positions, half-back, right half-back and left half-back. Comes down towards Andy Mallon. In the centre is McGeaney, orchestrating things once again, half deflected. This time by Sean Kavanagh. And Mulligan battling with Francie Bellew. Mulligan. Look at where Stevie McDonald is. Ball back outside. They have to regain. The referee has blown his whistle. And it really is hard to hear up here this afternoon.
It is, yeah, there's no question, but Paddy Russell had blown it some time ago, issued a black warning to Francie and is giving the free into Tyrone.
Mulligan with the free. And that goes over the bar. Five minutes played. First score to Tyrone.
Good one too. He's up and running. That's the one thing that Armagh won't want, is his confidence levels beginning to soar.
This was a spectacular save from Paul Hearty. Ryan Mellon was under pressure, but Hearty deflected it magnificently. Good burst of speed. Chance of a finish here. And it's gone over the bar. Sean Kavanagh gets the score. He did so well here. Got inside McGeaney. Had the composure to get himself into a good position and then belted over the bar. This is Paul McGrain. Ups for the long ball. It's 2 against 1 here. And the one is Stevie McDonald. Onto the trusty left boot. Has he judged it correctly? He has. First score for Armagh after 9.5 minutes of play. The ball into the space is for Brian Dooher. Owen Mulligan wants it flicked inside quickly. It's a great ball into Mulligan. Tries to dummy, takes a shot, and sends it over the bar. He really also has had an interesting journey. He lost his form around May or June, came on against Dublin, scored a spectacular goal. Now he's on the starting 15, and you can see why here. Great catch by Paul McGrain. Into the centre is Kieran McGeaney. Pumping it along towards Ronan Clark or McDonald. He doesn't really mind. Up to Ryan McMiniman. Ryan Dooher to his right. Uses Davy Hart. Good ball up towards Brian McGuigan. At least it should have been. Passes with Kieran McGeaney. Nice hand back far as Oisin McConville. Coming from right corner back is Andy Mallon at speed. Back to Mallon once more. Nice overlap. Good running by the corner back. Over for Stevie McDonald. This is going to be a very good score if he can put it over. Credit Andy Mallon for the score will stand to Stevie McDonald. Level for the first time after 22 minutes of play. The finish was superb and the creativity by Mallon was absolutely brilliant. And McGinley to Brian Dooher coming through the centre. Armagh all over him. The ball is loose, it's free. Kieran McGeaney can't get to his feet quick enough. He has it. Lays it off as Andy Mallon from the Pearsall Club. But gives it to Aidan O'Rourke from Drummond T.
He's lost it.
And he's lost it. Into McGinley. Back for his own Mulligan. About to be challenged by Brian Mallon. Lays it back. He may be scrappy, but it's pretty tense.
Have it again, Marty.
And it's Paul McGrain. And it's a free for Armagh. And away come Armagh. Brian Mallon. Past the 65. Past the 45. Heading towards the 20. Going towards the 13. Takes the shot. And it's over the bar.
That's inspirational, isn't it?
Previous with Andy Mallon coming from right corner back. This is Brian Mallon coming from deep inside his own half of the field. Number 15 on his back. A fantastic run and a great point at the end of it. Testing ball for Francie Bellew. Gets down. Oh, it's a bone cruncher. And Bellew has gone down. You could feel the pain of it up here on the 7th floor of the Hogan stand. Comes down far as Ryan Mellon. Bellew is still down, but it's Tyrone that have possession in the shape and form of Davy Hart. Brian Dooher. Davy wants it once more. Dooher thinking about a shot, gives it back to his right half back, dropping this in. Aidan O'Rourke seems to be holding on to Owen Mulligan. O'Rourke has gone down. Referee doesn't blow a whistle.
Penalty.
It's not a penalty.
Absolutely.
Well, Aidan O'Rourke would claim that he was fouled by Owen Mulligan previously. He seemed to go down like a sack of spuds very, very quickly. The referee didn't blow a whistle, and subsequently I think there is no doubt this is a penalty. Now, I have to say I saw Stephen O'Neill take 2 penalties. I think the first was against Cavan, second was against Dublin. I could be wrong, that's off the top of the head. And here he is with his third, facing Paul Hearty. Paul Hearty, all 6'4". And I have to give credit to Stephen O'Neill. Up to now, his 2 penalties have been stuck to Paul Hearty's left in the bottom corner. Not saying he's going to do it again.
Who's been studying the videotapes?
I've had a look a couple of times. Here's O'Neill. I'm sure Paul Hearty has done the same. Will he go to Paul Hearty's left as we look at it? And he did!
It's a key moment.
Absolutely fantastic penalty, and every single time he's put it into the same corner. 3 times, 3 penalties.
You see, Marty, I think you were a goalkeeper in your youth, and you'd be looking at for this sort of thing. It doesn't matter that he knows that it's a brilliant penalty. Stuck, beautiful height, right to the stanchion. Fantastic finish.
Sideline ball, far side. Ryan McMenamin is disagreeing with Dave Coldrick. He refereed several championship matches and did a very good job, I must say, as well. This one is dropping in, and it's over the bar.
It's a good one.
Kieran
really
McGuinney gets his very first point in the championship. Ball inside tries Ryan Mallon, but he miscued it. And possession given away. Side down ball this time for Armagh. Kieran McKeever. They lose out. There's a chance here for Ryan Mallon. Owen Mulligan is this side. What's he going to do? Oh! He tried to hand pass it into the net, and Paul Hearty saves. But really, he should have done better here. Ryan Mallon cutting through. Mulligan had the time to gather here, but he pushed it, and Hearty did the very same thing. McEntee twins now very much involved. This is John. Crossfield ball aimed over at Stevie McDonald with Ryan McMenamin onto the right boot. Floating like a butterfly. It's his 3rd point from play. 1 point between the teams now. 10 minutes into the second half. Lovely ball over towards McDonald from John McEntee, and this was a beauty all the way. It's a little touch of mist descending on Croke Park at the moment. Ronan Clark receiving the pass from Oisin McConville. And Clark was fouled, and from the 13-metre line it's a free for Armagh, and a chance to level this game yet again. And once more the onus of responsibility will fall on Oisin McConville. Coming at it from an acute angle. 2 goals and 16 points in the campaign so far. 29-year-old from Crossmaglen curls this inside the post and over the bar. Level for the 3rd time after 47 minutes. Sean Kavanagh has to go back for his Philip Jordan. Davy Hart is all alone in front of the Cusack stand. Conor Gormley spots it, running. His right corner back, Ryan McMenamin. Past the 45, approaching the 20, doing a Brian Mallon in the first half by sending it over the bar. Wonderful score. He never played minor, never played under 21 for his county. He was born in Canada, but he's a Tyrone man to the bottom of his heart and soul. Look at this, for sheer utter passion, and a fantastic point.
Yeah, and sometimes we give him a hard time, think that maybe there's only one facet to his game, but he's just shown us there what a good footballer he also is. Highly rated by a lot of the Ulster observers. Critical score for Tyrone, a really, really good one.
It's a phrase we use an awful lot, unfortunately, in the business, but that has been an inspirational score. Fabulous catch by Sean Kavanagh. The running provided by Davy Hart. Back to Kavanagh once more. Setting up O'Neill. Owen Mulligan Goes a little bit to his left, but O'Neill sends it over the bar for his first point from play. Tyrone step up into fourth gear, perhaps.
But how true it is inspirational, because McMenamin now has lifted the whole team with that point. Kavanagh, who we haven't seen a whole lot, gets involved twice, catches, pops, takes it back, and then a great finish by O'Neill.
Tyrone led at half-time, 1-4 to 5, 2 points. Slowly Armagh got back into the game, level. Look at this for a crowd and an atmosphere. And now Tyrone have responded once more and have a 2-point advantage. 19 and a half minutes left in Croke Park. Breaking ball gathered by Brian Dooher. Some people thought they just might be a little bit tired after the replay against Dublin yesterday week. They look full of energy at the moment. Philip Jordan, O'Neill, floating this one in towards Peter Canavan. Getting away from Andy Mallon onto the right boot, and it's Canavan that sends it over the bar. 34-year-old since the 9th of April, captain of the All-Ireland in 2003. 3 Ulster Championship medals. He wants a second All-Ireland. Just look at this, the maestro in motion, in slow motion. And the ball sails over Paul Hirty's crossbar.
He really knows how to pick his moments, does Mr. Canavan. You know, back in the team, the thing is on the boil and he scores it.
Breaking ball, picked up again. And ever since Ryan McMenamin went forward, Tyrone have stepped up into fourth, perhaps fifth gear. Well won this time, however, by left corner back Kieran McKeever. A little bit of pushing off the ball. Oisin McConville, Andy Mallon. And as always, Armagh, I'm sure, will respond slowly, methodically. They won't lose their focus. Chance here for John McEntee. That is sent over the bar. Well, it was tense, very tense in the first half with little or no scores. And I don't think anybody can complain about the last 5 minutes or so. And Armagh do respond. John McEntee sailing this one over. 2 points between the teams. Paddy McKeever wins possession and wins a free. Again, they're aiming for Clark and McDonald. McDonald has got inside the cover. Pascal McConnell is out, and it's a goal.
What a finish!
Just the simplest of touches. McDonald, magic McDonald from Kalibi. How did he manage to squeeze it in? It must have been absolutely centimetres.
And he's done it with his right foot. We'll see it, Marty, here in the replay. He's actually done it with his right foot, I do believe. What a catch. What a move around him. He's been fouled. No, it's actually as if he curls it around. What a finish.
Just managed to squeeze it inside the post. And now Armagh lead by a point. Oh,
brilliant.
Now Tyrone, after responding, seek the equaliser for the 4th time. And they go forward in numbers. The block down is by Paul McGrain. Goes to return and just stumbles. Sideline ball for Tyrone. What a scoreboard. An intriguing contest. It really has been pulsating here. Stephen O'Neill, front of the Cusick stand, 20-metre line, going for the point. Cuts it across. Sean Kavanagh gathers it ahead of McEntee. Tony. And the referee blows his whistle. Armagh players are furious, and they're telling Francie Bellew to go away, and particularly Aaron Kernan. He may be only 21, but I think it's an old head on young shoulders. Yeah, well, Francie shouldn't be arguing.
What's happened there is that Sean Kavanagh was definitely fouled on the very first ball. Paddy Russell was in a bad position. Thought it should have been, but he didn't give it. Now he has.
Owen Mulligan to equalise. It's a simple tap over. It's his second from a free. This is John McEntee laying it off as Aaron Kernan, opting for the long ball into the space. Pascal McConnell comes off his line, then decides to go back. Michael McGee did well to stay inside. Now the umpire has raised his arm and he's giving a 45, or perhaps the referee is overruling that. He's actually giving a free to McGee. Conor Gormley can afford a little smile. Pascal McConnell to Joe McMahon, to Brian Dooher. Ulster champions leading by a point. Davy Hart just took his eye off it. Here come Armagh. chance of another point. Hit on the meat, over the bar by Ronan Clark for his first point in this All-Ireland semi-final. Chris Lawn is coming on for left half-back Philip Jordan. So Chris Lawn goes in to mark Ronan Clark, and Joe McMahon is coming out to the half-back line. And of course you may recall that Chris Lawn had a fabulous game on Ronan Clark the last time they clashed. Here's Sean Kavanagh. Can he put this over the bar? Yes, he can. For his second point in this semi-final. 64 minutes and 41 seconds played. 1 point between the teams. Here's Kavanagh going through, hitting it absolutely perfectly. Oisin McConville. 2 Armagh players available. One of them is Aaron Kernan. Front of the Hogan stand, Brian Dooher. Back outside for his McKeever. Flicking it inside for his Tony John McEntee it is. Ball given away. Here comes the response from Tyrone. Ryan McMenamin laying it off for his Kavanagh. Tries to get by. Tony McEntee succeeds. He's on the 65, approaching the 45. Has to kick it now. Into Owen Mulligan. Battling with Owen Mulligan and Francie Bellew. Back to Peter Canavan. Sneaks it through. Chance of a point in front of the post. And it's over the bar. Shane Sweeney, centre back for most of the championship, corner back against Dublin, comes forward as a substitute. Is he the hero? Incredible.
It's the fast hands here. A fantastic kick by O'Neill. Gets it back to Canavan, who dishes it immediately to Sweeney to open up the gap.
Well, I can promise you one thing. There's nobody leaving Croke Park. The breaking ball favours Colin Holmes. He's approaching the 45. Stephen O'Neill is to his left. Holmes has to give it back to Ryan McMenamin. Scored a great point from the far over side. This is Stephen O'Neill. McMenamin has gone inside. Still O'Neill does so well. The referee claims that he was pulled, and he was, and it's a free in for Tyrone.
Who's going to take this one? Is it O'Neill? Hardly now with the left foot, Marty, as Canavan is up on his feet. He'll want it. Here's Mulligan.
It's going to be Owen Mulligan. Kieran McGeaney looks on. Who's going to take this? It looks like it could well be Peter Canavan. And he's leaving it.
Not lovely.
the student is leaving it to the teacher, I think, here.
I think we're playing this student one a long time. He must have left school by now, Marty.
This is it. And Penny Russell had a quiet word with Peter Canavan. Is this the free and the point to put Tyrone in the All-Ireland final? Canavan for great. 72 minutes played. Is there time left in Croke Park for Armagh to come back? Stephen O'Neill was trying to delay Paul Hirty taking the kick out, and Francie Bellew is pushing him away. Paul Hirty with the kick out. It's all up to the referee now. It's a long kick out. It's over. The captain of 2003 is the match winner. Peter Canavan has done it for his county in their 9th championship match. They make amends. They beat Armagh after losing the Ulster final. Draw on replay. It's Tyrone against Kerry in the All-Ireland football final. Full-time score in Croke Park. Tyrone 1 goal and 13 points. Armagh 1 goal and 12.
There's a lot of celebration out there, and of course people celebrate getting to a final. But, you know, there's no cup lifted today. We're just in the final. Kerry's sitting there as well. We have to keep our feet firmly on the ground. Enjoy the moment, but know that there's a lot of work to be done if we want to lift the cup.
The closeness of the two teams has been the same way all year. In the 3 games it was the same way. You know, obviously Tyrone learned from the last day. We had our chances near the end. On a normal days we would finish somebody off, but we give the ball away a few times there. But that's, you get the rub of the green some days, and we didn't get it today. And well, fair play to Tyrone. You know, they'll give it a good crack there, and we'll just have to sit and watch.
There was a great little shot of yourself and Peter Canavan at the end. What was said exactly? Can you repeat it?
Oh no, I can't repeat it, but I just thank God he came over. You know, it was a tough decision, but I was glad to see him going over. He's a lot more experience than I have, and it showed day to day.
Do you think we were heading for a replay?
It'd look to be that way. As I say, Armagh, great team and great players, managers as well. They know what it's all about. I'm really the same, and it was looking like a replay, to be honest with you, but you know, they're lucky at the end of.
John, Colin O'Rourke said today that if we had a game like this played every week, it would pack Croke Park. Would you agree with him?
I would, in the sense that it was a tremendous occasion. There was huge intensity, huge commitment. You know, you could criticise some of the quality. There was a lot of ball given away, there was a lot of wides kicked and so on. But if it were a replay, I think Croke Park would be full to the rafters. So that's what people want to see, and it's a great tribute to the two teams, I think.
A great game?
Not necessarily great in the quality, as I said, and some things that you'd question and so on, but you couldn't question the absolute intensity and commitment that these two teams have brought to the championship just this year alone, not looking back even over the last few years at all.
I suppose John summed it up, intensity and commitment. Vinny, you only said at half-time it was a game of attrition.
Yes, it was, and I suppose the draw didn't do them any favours either when they were drawn against each other, near neighbours. I suppose near neighbours and the rivalry, they have paralysed any chance we have of absolute open positive football. There was hard work, they tracked back, they blocked down, they put their necks on the line, but we didn't see open football flowing from end to end. Or maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned and a bit naive. That's the type of football I like to see Lee C playing. I know there was a lot at stake today, and the winner takes all. They would have been happy by winning 1 point in it, but we didn't see too much open football.
Today a few texts and emails. Gaelic football, says Lynn Barry. I would love to know why the term football is used. Gaelic throwball would be a more appropriate name to use. Not related to football. Rubbish, folks. Is this the Southern boys again just heavy a pop because there's Northern teams?
Well, I don't know, Pat, but I think certainly from my perspective, I thought today was a wonderful game of football. I thought it was an absolutely gripping encounter. It was on the edge of your seat right throughout the entire game. I thought the intensity that the both sets of teams brought to the game was incredible. The fitness levels of both teams. You have 30 amateur, or whatever it was, 40 maybe players.
And not in the business of entertainment.
You know yourself, football's about winning matches, Pat. Yeah. And you have two very, very well organised sides who defend very, very well. And, you know, to me it was a wonderful, wonderful spectacle of football. You're not always going to get open, fast-flowing football. If we were getting that, we'd be complaining that it lacked championship intensity. There you had the real thing. That was real championship football as it should be played, and it was a wonderful spectacle.
John, 7 minutes to go, Armagh went 2 points ahead. Normally you expect Armagh in that situation to close out the game, yet it was Tyrone who upped the gear.
Yeah, and I think in the two Ulster finals you had situations where Tyrone were doing well, and they didn't just get to it. But today they reacted.
2 points down.
They had to win the game twice in the second half. And we can see here Sean Kavanagh, who, you know, at this stage of the game, he had faded out of the game, but to bounce back and showed the leadership and the score.
2 kicks the hole into the field.
2 kicks the hole into the field. And here again we have, I think, Shane Sweeney's point.
Quick hands.
And brilliant hands by Canavan. And we must remember Canavan wasn't on the field at the end of the Ulster final. So maybe he'd have done something like that. Maybe we wouldn't have got the replay of the Ulster final.
And then come at the hour, come at the man.
Come at the man, absolutely. And he did brilliantly. I mean, he had the bottle there with that last free as well.
Just a matter of interest, would they have got those scores if Kieran McGeeney had been left on for the last 10
Well, that's
minutes?
the big question that all Armagh people will be asking, I think, tonight, in the sense that Joe Kernan confirmed afterwards that he wasn't injured. And, you know, the leadership that Sean Kavanagh showed for Tyrone, would McGeeney have slowed the thing down a little bit and played out the game?
A mistake on Big Joe's part?
Well, it's very hard to say, you know, it's very hard to say.
But in hindsight?
In hindsight, probably, looking in from outside, you'd say he should have stayed on, but I mean, who's to criticise either McGeeney or Joe Kernan and what they've done?
Tony, one of the big talking points after the game was Tyrone's penalty just before half-time. And it wasn't so much the foul that a lot of people were querying, but they were querying a possible foul on Aidan O'Rourke by Owen Mulligan before that. You've had a look at the whole instant leading up to the penalty.
Yes, we were looking at this. It was 4 points all at this stage, and it was just before half-time, so it was a vital stage of the game. Brian Dooher gets the ball outside, and he passes it back, a high ball. And just if you watch just there in the picture, there was an incident between Owen Mulligan and Aidan O'Rourke there. The ball is played in to Stephen O'Neill, and definitely a foul. Like, there's no doubt it was a penalty, but the incident that led up to it we were talking about. And here we see, look, kicked him. Now, the interesting thing about this, Pat, is he's booked. Now, between the awarding of the free and the taking of the penalty, there was an incident where Owen Mulligan kicked. So, what's the ruling there? I think that what should have happened was Owen Mulligan should have got a red card for kicking, and it should have been a free out.
Or a throw up, is that correct?
Or a throw up. I'm not sure exactly. I was looking at the rule book a while ago. What it says between the awarding of the free and the taking of the free, so if another incident happens, then there's a free out the other way.
A definite penalty, inconclusive on the Aidan O'Rourke. I've never seen an Armagh back go down so easy. Yeah. And the third thing, probably Mulligan, it should have been either a hot ball or a free out.
Yes. Pat, we were looking at the incident initially, you know, and there's no real evidence for Owen Mulligan doing anything with his arms.
Anthony, I suppose yet again, Tyrone lost the centre field battle. Armagh won there. Armagh probably won most of the breaking ball. Probably in terms of possession, Armagh had about 60% of the play. Yet they lost the game. How did they manage to lose the game dominating in the possession stakes?
Well, I think given their possession, I think, you know, the kick-out count was something like Armagh won 26 out of 42, so they had the lion's share of possession. But I felt throughout the game they used it quite badly, and also in the second half, when they were in the ascendancy, they kicked a number of bad ways. And you see that one from Paul McGrain. You know, it's relatively easy kick. And one from Stephen MacDonald.
Yeah,
I know it's on his left. They kicked 11 wides in total to Tyrone's 7. So, you know, they'll be very, very disappointed with the way they used the ball. It is quite difficult at times, you know, when you're playing against the defence like Tyrone's, you know, to find your man. You see here John McEntee trying to kick that diagonal ball, which we've become so accustomed to Armagh doing, and that one went into the Tyrone defender's hands the whole way up the lower pitch, and Shane Sweeney kicked the equalising point, so it hurt them big time when they didn't take their scores when they were on top and they were made to pay for it.
Listen, not for the first time this year, and not surprisingly, a lot of texts and emails about the refereeing performance today. The referee was absolutely shocking, Sean and Kerry. Bad ref for a big game, not fair that players have to train so hard, and costly mistake. And once again, and this is from Paul Corvin, County Armagh, once again we had a wonderful epic of Northern football sullied by the incompetence of a woefully inadequate Southern referee. From an Armagh perspective, I feel we have been robbed not by the opposition but by a wholly incompetent display of refereeing. What did he make of Paddy Russell's display today, lads?
I'd say overall that's a bit harsh. Yeah. Now, you'd have to qualify that by saying that there were a number of, you know, 50-50 decisions.
You've had a look at a few of the 50-50s.
Yeah, we've had a look at them, and there's, you know, you could argue, I mean, the vital... This is one. Now, if you notice here, I think we see it better here in the replay, where Owen Mulligan actually holds Francie Bellew's hand, and Mulligan, you see it there, and eventually Mulligan gets a free. So there was definitely a lead up to that, which probably should have seen Francie Bellew get a free out. Here we have Peter Canavan, probably... I
think he took a dive actually.
Another manufactured free. We're seeing a lot of them all year. Yeah. And this was the vital one, lads.
Really, you know, it was the vital free at the end.
And at the end, I think, you know, the referee got that one right.
Yeah,
there was a tug there.
It was a fair call by him because...
it was a brave call.
We criticised Pat McEnany for checking out in the drawn game.
You certainly couldn't accuse Paddy Russell of that, no, but if you were in Armagh, I for one, I wish the game had been a draw. I just really felt that both sides deserved another day.
That was a free, in fairness, but it probably was taken a few yards in as well, but it definitely was a free, and full credit to Russell there.
If he didn't give it, it would have been a draw, and everyone would have been happy with a replay. So it was a big call. It was a right call.
Replay.
Well, time to name the RTE Bank of Ireland man of the match, and Ryan McMinimum wins the award. John?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan McMinimum has been, I suppose, questioned a lot for his negative tactics in games, but today we give him an award for his positive football and his inspiration. We saw early in the game there, you see him picking up a lot of balls, sweeping up in defence, and then, of course, at a vital stage in that second half, in one of the comebacks, scoring an inspirational point. And, you know, he means a huge amount to this team, to their own team at the moment, for a guy who didn't play minor or under 21.
Well, here's what Ryan had to say to Darragh Maloney after the game.
Ryan McManaman, you're the RTE Bank of Ireland man of the match. Colin McKenna, who's the head of marketing at Bank of Ireland Northern Ireland, is here to make the presentation. Colin, if you'd do the honours, please, and present Ryan with his trophy. Ryan, congratulations on the award, and congratulations again on the victory. You've had a little time to reflect on it. What does it feel like now? It feels like an awful lot more than winning just a semi-final, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah, but at the end of the day, it was only a semi-final now, and we're like with 3 weeks now to prepare for Kerry. And now if just hopefully now we get the heads down now and work really hard now. I think Fergal, Mickey and Tony's going to have us, I think probably like we'll be back out tomorrow, and then probably out on Tuesday as well, you know, like to get the heads right, and like as we said earlier on before, like we have a very big task against Kerry. I think they blew Cork out of the water, and they're probably the top team in the country at the minute.
The PR battle has started already. Well, earlier on the live programme we offered viewers the opportunity to choose their man of the match, and if it matched our selection then they were entered into our competition. Well, congratulations to Francis Kelly from Ballygawley in County Tipperary. You're the lucky winner of 2 tickets and overnight accommodation for the All-Ireland football final on Sunday the 25th of September. Well, all of our RTE Bank of Ireland competition winners throughout the season were entered into a draw for 2 tickets to the All-Ireland football final with overnight accommodation in a 4-star hotel in Dublin city centre. And the overall winner of the prize is Paddy Reedy from Portroe in County Tipperary. Congratulations to you, Paddy. We take a break, but coming up we have highlights from the Tommy Murphy Cup and another opportunity to vote for your favourite moments from our August selection.